Namaste. Welcome to the beginning of another live Saṅgha. I'm grateful to be here, and I trust that you are feeling as well as you can be in this moment, despite whatever circumstances might be unveiling in your life at this time. Know that I am here to be your humble host, and if I'm not, you can hold me accountable to that. And whatever you are feeling, remember that if there's any difficulties, that this too shall pass, and that you are absolutely allowed to be feeling what you're feeling, as it's a valid expression of what you're experiencing both inside and out. May you find peace and relaxation here, and allow me to welcome our first guest. Hello, dear Ingrid. And hello, dear I Am Princess Mom. Oh, and thank you for blessing our Saṅgha with a pair of friendship necklaces already. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Hello, dear Karen. I am happy to be here. How are you? And good evening, all the way to you in Ireland. Hello, dear Shelley Belly. Namaste, dear Rebecca Moonstone. And thank you for your likes, dear Gabriella. Never necessary, but I do know they help push this space to a wider audience if you feel like others could benefit from it. Allow me to also begin by setting the intentions for this space as being a welcoming environment, open to everyone, regardless of background, identity, orientation, belief system, ethnicity, etc. May we come together as fellow students of life to uplift each other, relate in one another's experiences, and share positive sentiments. And thank you, dear Azura. Welcome, and thank you, Karen, for your friendship necklace. Radhe, Radhe. Let's begin with a nice deep breath, those that are here. Good evening, dear Mark. I remember a Buddhist monk once said that the best mantra on your inhale is present moment, and the best mantra on your exhale is wonderful moment. Present moment. Wonderful moment. It's a nice one I often find myself returning to. You needed that. It's a good one. It all starts with the breath. And thank you, Tough, for the follow. And thank you for the likes, dear Angel. I hope you are all feeling grateful for something today. No matter how hard your day may be, if there's even one thing to be grateful for, it's a good day overall. I'm feeling very well. Thank you for asking, Sarah. How are you? Welcome, dear Dob Darker. And thank you for your heartmate, as always. You're so consistent with your generosity. Jaya Sitara. Grateful for all the angels around you. Me too, dear Rebecca. Dear B Castle, hello. How do we catch the snake today? Well, yesterday I said snakes love, what is it? Lemon meringue pie? So put one underneath a box and a stick with a rope around it and yes. Today I say, one need not catch the snake when you realize that it was never a snake at all, but instead it was a rope, only appearing as a snake without the knowledge of its ropeness. So with the lamp of knowledge, illuminate the dark room in which the rope appears as a snake, and there will be no snake to catch. Thank you, Amaria, for the rose you sent. Ganganapataye Namah. I'd also love by beginning with a Shanti mantra from the Taittiriya and Katha Upanishad that serves as a peace prayer in the ancient language of Sanskrit. It goes like this. Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om. May the Divine nourish us both together. May the Divine protect us both together. May we work conjointly with great ease. May our studies be vigorous and effective, and may we not mutually dispute or hate any. Om. May there be peace in us. May there be peace in our environment, and may there be peace in the forces that act on us. Thank you. Dear Mello, you ask, what do I think about politics? Or you've spelt it politics. It's like politics, but for the game of polo. You know, where you ride on horseback and have to swing the big mallet and try to hit the polo ball. Yeah, I probably think about polo more than I do the other thing. Good evening, dear Cody Jane. Thank you, dear Eira, for the heart me that you sent. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. And thank you, dear Roxy, for your heart me. Om Kring Kalikaye Namaha. Dear Andy, you ask, any advice for someone who's feeling neglected? I'll answer you later. Azura says, no, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't neglect you, dear Andy. But don't neglect yourself. When others have poor behavior towards us, the worst thing we can do is add to that and not take care of ourselves. And conversely, the best thing we can do for ourselves is to not neglect ourselves when others are. Others may be a refuge of infinite love, but so are we. And we can draw from our own well and take care of our bodies and minds with that too. Others may be going through their own thing, and who knows what's in their mind, taking us or taking them away from us in the present moment. But as long as you are showing up for yourself, then you are playing your part perfectly. And thank you, dear Majesty, for the heart me that you sent. Om Kamalir Mahakalikaye Namaha. And dear Nikki, thank you for your heart me too. Om Dum Durgaya Namaha. Is the lizard wizard still by my window? Not today, but I'll certainly let you know if he's back. Hello, dear Shakira. Mellow Media, you ask, what if it is actually a snake and not a rope? Well, then you go back to the lemon meringue idea. Welcome back, dear Roxy. What do I think about pilotix? Not politics, but pilotix. About pilots? People that fly planes? May we be like pilots ourselves and take the plane of our mind higher and higher into elevated discussion. Hello, dear Lauren. Hello, dear Mishi. Welcome. What are we doing tonight? Asks Ida. We are exploring whatever's in our hearts and minds. Well, that's for the Manana section. For Shravana, the beginning section dedicated to listening, no show and tell today, but if ever you have something to share, please check out the show and tell submission form in the link tree in the bio. You can upload images, audio files, documents, or just type something. I like having space to showcase creativity, for example, or things that you've learned from other people. But we shall continue reading through the Radiant Sutras, these 112 gateways to the Yoga of Wonder and Delight, a modern interpretation and commentary of the ancient Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Then we'll have Manana, the section dedicated to exploring whatever's in our hearts and minds, and Q&A. And there'll be a question of the day about bodily sanctification. Then we'll have an intermission of some poetry reading by the Sufi mystic Rumi. And then we'll end with a meditation mantra on Father Time that is said to have the ability to bestow victory in all that we do. That's what we're doing tonight. Hello, dear Emilio. Adan Ali, you ask, what is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is to ask that question. That's very meaningful. So well done. You've succeeded at that already. Thank you, dear Nikki, for your pair of pairs of team bracelets, a pair of popular votes, and a team cheers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dear Karen, you ask, what words would I give someone struggling on their path, finding so much negativity? You find what you look for. If you look for negativity, you'll never run out of it. If you look for problems in the world, there will always be another one. But instead of looking for problems, look for solutions. Instead of being problem-oriented, be solution-oriented. Focus on what can be done, rather than what hasn't been done yet. This universe is just a spectrum of becoming. Things that haven't quite yet had the time to flourish seem negative at first, but when given attention to the possibility therein, things unfold in a more positive way over time. And if you're struggling with that, then you're definitely on the path, because the path is a struggle. But the struggle gets easier. It never becomes not a struggle, but the struggle itself becomes more and more like a dance. You're not so much fumbling or stumbling as you are dancing through the challenges of life. Dear Matilda, you had asked, how can one be kind to ourselves? When we speak of ourself, we normally refer to 3 different things: body, mind, and soul. At the highest level, you are soul, pure conscious awareness. You can't be kind to that because it is the source of all kindness. It doesn't need any more kindness. But your mind and your body, they definitely need kindness. And as we said, if you, as the soul, is the ultimate refuge of kindness, then that means relating your mind and body to your soul, taking moments where you are just fully present with your body, with your mind, allowing your body to be as it is, discovering its needs and boundaries and taking care of them. The same with the mind. Work on your mental health. If your body's health is suffering, take care of your health. Work with a doctor, work with a licensed healthcare professional. If you need a specialist for any mental health problems, work with that. Meditate, drink well, eat well, go for walks, be in nature. All of those things are being kind to yourself. What do I think about politics, for real? You find it so dividing. I agree, dear Mellow Media. All the problems that I see in life are not going to be solved from policies changing, because that's what the root of politics is. It's from the word policy. Politics is the world of policies. I really think policies just reflect what everyone is feeling in their hearts. If we change what's in our hearts over time, our policies will reflect that. So if policies are a reflection of something deeper, then if we focus on what's deeper, then that foundation will be like the best place to build something better on top of. Regardless of different political theories and ideologies and platforms and parties, it's all people. It's all human beings with very human hearts and emotions. And if we focus on that, then everything else that comes from that, including everything that we do, will get better. Thank you, Emilio. And thank you for being part of the live, dear Majesty. What's the live about, dear Max? This is a Saṅgha, a space for us to explore spiritually related ideas, such as how we can become happy, how we can authentically express that joy, how we can heal from our wounds, grow together, learn, laugh, and play. Welcome, dear Mark. Divine GPT, I love that, Roxy. That's okay, dear Melomedia. Yeah. Thank you, dear Shakira, for your heart me. Bhurmhuvaswa Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. And dear Shelly Belly, thank you for your squirrel and s'mores. Those are cute gifts. Om Ham Jum Sa Tryambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Marityor Mukshiya Mamrita. And thank you, dear Dr. Rach, for your 10 roses. Om Kali Mahakali Kalike Parameshwari Sarvanandakari Devi Narayani Namostute. Your cat is feeling a little better. Oh, I'm happy to hear that, dear Cece. Glad you like the agenda for today, dear Ida. Hello, dear Slow Your Heart. Nice to have you again. Cece, you share every time I come on here, I look more beautiful. How is it possible? It's probably because I shaved today. Yeah. Dear Period, you ask, do I have any advice for someone who wants to transition in their gender? I would love to empathize with those that struggle feeling comfortable in their bodies, tell them that they're valid in what they experience, but remind them that true gender is not expressed through what body you have, because all bodies are from the mother. All bodies come from Mother Nature. So whether you're in a male or female or anything in between or beyond body, it is still a feminine body because it's part of Mother Nature. But divine consciousness, that is the divinity, the witness that experiences this body that you are, that is beyond gender. We can find the masculine and feminine in anything, and you don't have to change that to be able to express that. But if you choose to do so, that is of course your choice, because your body is your personal dominion, and nobody gets to choose what you do with your body other than you. But you can find all genders in consciousness, because consciousness is the infinite source, the possibility of becoming. anything. In other words, you don't have to transition in the sense that you're not already what you are. Everything that you can be is already within you. It's just your choice how you choose to express that or not. Thank you, dear Ten How You, for your heart me. Som Somaya Namaha. Dear Dancing Aurora Borealis, thank you for your heart me. Sum Suryaya Namaha. And dear Kim, thank you for your tiny nine. Dear Roxy, you share, you follow the flower power path now. That sounds fun. Tell me more about that. Thank you, dear Ida. And welcome, dear Max. I love that it's Haley Kim. It's not about changing the system. It's about uplifting the good that's already in it. Is that a quote from me? That's a good quote. Yeah. Hello, dear Koli. Dear Ingwild, you ask, what's my favorite band? My favorite band is the Rubber Band because it's very versatile, flexible, and you can play all sorts of music on the Rubber Band. Melomedia, you had asked, what are my thoughts on Vanity? I can't remember what Vanity is. Let me remind myself. Vanity. Vanity is a department in Home Depot. Vanity definition: excessive pride in or admiration of one's own appearance or achievements. Yeah, that can be an obstacle. What is most important in life is not our appearance, but what we see in others. Not what we look like, but how we look at others. Can we find the beauty in others? Now that is truly a beautiful quality of not just what's on the outside, but what's on your inside. The being that is witnessing life, if that being can find beauty in other things, that is worth more than any diamond earring or expensive clothing or whatnot. Or whatever you can buy at the vanity section of Home Depot. Thank you, Nico, for your rose. Hare Krishna. And dear Helena, thank you for your rose too. Radhe Krishna. Thank you, dear J. Ray. I hope you are having a beautiful day too. Radhe, Radhe, dear Shakira. Dear Emma, you share, you're creating a weird sense of boredom because you're not yet filled with the bliss of God, but you know anytime you give into desires, you realize their destruction. Powerful words you've chosen today. What if that weird sense of boredom is the bliss of God? What if the bliss of God truly is to be bored? Huh? What do you make of that? Thank you, Roxy, for your flowers. Om Namo Narayanaya. Dear Helena, thank you for your heart me. Om Namo Vishnave. Dear Shakira, you ask, how has going live changed my lifestyle, and how do I like it? It's one of the most meaningful things I get to do every day. And knowing how many people come here to share experiences with each other, it encourages me to deepen my own experience of these things that we talk about too. And I am a very happy person, and I'm so grateful for the contribution that you all have played in that, thanks to what I am allowed to offer by you. Thank you, dear. Look, it's Deck or Dees for your transtyle. Yahoo! Namaskar. Welcome, dear Kaiwala. Hello, Helena. Welcome, dear Triskai. Aurelia. Dear Jere, you ask, how did I learn so much about spirituality? Is it self-taught or guided? I think a little bit of both. I don't have any particular source that I can guide you to that is the definitive compendium of all that I know or not know. But I can tell you that trying to find a little lesson in everything without taking the lessons too seriously has helped me greatly. I like to learn from many places, and sometimes I just scroll on my phone and see what comes my way. Other times I might listen to an audiobook or maybe watch a lecture from a spiritual teacher, but I move from place to place. But above all, I like to engage with ideas in my own mind and contemplate on them, meditate on them, write ideas out or explore them through some creative medium. Try to see the truth in things directly. Hello, dear Beck. Welcome. Dear Netra, you ask, what do I think about the Manikarnika Mandir? I've not heard of that mandir. Let's look it up. There's the Manikarnika Ghat, one of the holiest cremation grounds among the sacred riverfronts, located on Ganga in Varanasi. Is that what you're referring to? Death is considered a gateway to another life, marked by the results of one's karma. It's believed that a human soul attains moksha and hence breaks the cycle of rebirth when cremated here. The ghat is named after Sati's earrings, which fell there. Maybe there's a mandir that stands behind that ghat. There's a shrine there, which is an important place of worship for Shaktas, devotees of Shakti. It's near the Kashi Vishwanath temple. Oh, it's your new candle business, Roxy. Awesome. I love that for you. You keep asking this every live stream, Grace. How tall am I? Well, I'm not getting any shorter, but I think I am growing. Do I listen to Psy music? Asked Netra. What's Psy music? Is that from Psy, the Korean guy who made Oppa Gangnam Style? That's Psy? Thank you, dear Laurie, for your finger heart. Here's one for you too. And your friendship necklace. And tiny. Thank you, dear Shade, for your heart meme. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. And dear Kim, thank you for your rose and finger heart. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye Mahamedham prajñam prayacha swaha. And dear Brihef, thank you for your heart, ma'am. Om Namah Shivaya. Welcome, dear Musako. I'm not sure where that idea comes from, but let's focus on positivity here, shall we? Do I, dear Lost in Minnesota? My audience is thirsty. Well, I hope you all hydrate yourselves. We are 75% water. I'm definitely going to drink. Thank you for the reminder. Crossfires, you ask, if I ever start a band, can you be in the group like a groupie? I have no intentions of starting a band, but if in some timeline or dimension I cross into or I start a band, I hope you're part of that timeline. Hello, dear dream traveler. Dear Netra, you had also asked, do I know Baba Goa Gil? I don't think I know this. You're asking questions of things that I would love to learn about, however. Baba Goa Gil, born Gilbert Levy, was an American musician, DJ, remixer, and party organizer. He was one of the founders of the Goa trance and Psy-trance movement in electronic music. Ah, that goes with the other question you asked about Psy, short for Psy-trance music. I understand. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I like to listen to silence. I'm probably the weirdest person here when it comes to my music tastes, and that I don't have any. I like to put music on for others, like in the background of these Saṅghas. But generally speaking, you know, I just listen to whatever soundscape is already around me. But I know that so many people, 99% of the population, connect so beautifully, deeply with music, and myself included. Whenever I do hear music, it is always enchanting. I just never think to put it on myself. But I'm happy when people have such wonderful experiences they share about music and what it means to them. I think that's beautiful. Hello, dear Jared. Thank you for being here, dear Helena. Sorry, I'm taking a long time to go through each message one by one, dear Netra. My heart has been to India, probably in lifetimes past, but my body in this lifetime has yet to catch up. Yeah. Where am I reading these comments, dear Beck? Just in the past. You just gotta scroll up. Yeah. Hello, dear Andre. Dear Kelly Jones, you ask, what are my thoughts on telepathy? Have I listened to telepathy tapes? I have not listened to telepathy tapes. Is that telepathic tape? You know, it's like Scotch tape, but the tape itself, when you pull out the tape, it makes a sound, and the sound reveals what's in your mind. You are thinking about if you left the oven on. Thank you. That's right. Did I leave the oven on? No, I turned it off. Pull out a little more tape. There's doubt about if you turned the oven off. Okay, shut up. That's it. I'm using regular Scotch tape now. No, I don't think I've listened to telepathy tapes. Har Har Mahadeva. Welcome, dear Nilo. Dear Nikki, you share you need to stop smoking. You're struggling to stop. Can I please give you advice or tips? Bring your mind entirely to what you gain, not what you lose. Every time you feel the urge arise about, oh, how stress-free you'd feel off that drag of the cigarette, instead turn your mind to how much more you gain There's wonderful infographic charts that explain all the health benefits, physical and mental, for the first whatever days after smoking. It's immediate, the benefits. Just on like day 3 or something, you're already breathing like some percentage better. So don't think about it as a loss. You're not losing smoking, you're gaining your health. Continue to bring your mind to all that wonderful prospect that'll open up in your life from opening yourself up to new things. And replace the habit with something better. Breathwork. Most of the stress-freeness that comes from smoking is just the fact that you're consciously breathing. It almost doesn't matter what's in the cigarette. You can get herbal cigarettes, you can get nothing. You can get an empty straw and you can just breathe through the straw. That's called pranayama. When you conduct your breath consciously, it has a relaxing effect. If you take the time to go out and have a breathing break, you will feel just as better when you come back inside without the lethargy that comes from the nicotine. You're welcome, dear J. Ray. Namaskara, dear Maitri. I was able to quit vaping and on an even higher level of nicotine than it's in cigarettes, and who am I? I'm nobody. Anyone can do that. Dear Alyssa, you share you're currently going through a breakup with your ex-fiancé of 11 years with 2 kids. The future scares you. The future will scare any of us. Even if we have a particularly good life, if you really start thinking about the future, all the uncertainty will drive yourself nutty. Focus on the present moment. Take care of your children, your mental health. Create healthy relationships, even if they're not intimate. It's okay if people separate. Some people say it's the worst decision you could ever make for your children, but I disagree. My parents separated, and I'm so happy for my mother, and I'm grateful that my father has the space to explore his independence in other ways too. And I see such an improvement in both the children's life, mine and my sister, and in my parents, in terms of what they understand about themselves, and their health is improving, and my mental health is improving. When relationships are meant to be, they come and go freely. It's not like relationships meaning to be means that you have to be with them forever. Every duration is meant to be also, no matter how long, and may they come with grace and may they go with grace. And if you develop a beautiful friendship or something more platonic, that's wonderful also. There are many forms of healthy relationships, and certainly they don't have to be intimate or romantic or under the same roof. Thank you, dear Angel Wings, for your friendship necklace. Bharam Bhairavaya Namo Namah. Dear Neon Jello Pack, thank you for your heart meme. Shri Mahalakshmiyai Namah. And dear Helena, thank you for another rose. And thank you, Banjo, for your heart meme. Om Bhram Hanumate Namah. But many best wishes to you and your fiancé and your children, dear Alyssa, your ex-fiancé. The father of your children, or however they choose to identify. Dear Cody Jane, what is your question? I'm not sure I understand the question you asked, dear Cody Jane. Politics is always a temporary thing. Different political parties come and go, and they just undo the work that they did of the previous party, and then try to establish something new, and then back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The great change in the world, if you look back in history, it was never a political party or prime minister or president of any nation that really did something wonderful for the world, with some minor exceptions, of course. It was always one of us. It was always the people putting things in their own hands and deciding what's best. The things that happen at the level of government are only temporary. They come to pass. True change always, 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 always begins within. Politics is something, it's a kind of karma that you are free from if you choose not to identify with it. But you are bound by if you choose to identify with it. There's something very special that happens when you liberate yourself from any political association. You become protected in another way. The divine protects you from all that stuff. Seriously. You don't have to even think about anything political, and you will still make a wonderful difference in the lives of everyone in your life. And you will not be affected negatively by anything. That's a kind of karma for people who are not quite yet liberated from that identity. But once you liberate yourself from that identity, you won't have to, even if technically speaking you live in a certain country, and technically speaking that country is going through political upheaval, you are in your own world on the spiritual path. You are separate from all that. You are free from that drama if you no longer choose to identify with that. And I'm not saying that you run away from the problems and you're not helping people. I'm saying that there's a kind of mystical providence that in each little moment of your life, if you turn off the TV, if you stop listening to people that are talking nonsense about all the drama and how everything's going terrible, if you just bring your attention to little moments of positivity, you go for a walk, you experience some sunshine, you have a nice politics-free conversation with the people on your walk, you pet a puppy, you buy your groceries, you do what you can in your community, then everything outside that doesn't matter so much. If we all just focus on being a role model, standing up for what's right within our bubbles, then the world will become a better place. If we focus too much on what's happening outside of our individual control, then we get stressed out about something that's really not our dharma to achieve. Focus small and local. Give love to everyone in your life and wish the same for them. And that's how the world will become a better place. And thank you, dear Jackie, for your tiny. Yippee! And dear Crystal, thank you for your rose. Om Namah Shakti Shivaya. Focus on your spiritual quest, most importantly. If you take care of your spiritual responsibilities, I am sure you will find that the rest of your material life will be taken care of by the divine. And if you don't believe me, it's probably because you've never tried. If you really try, focus on your spiritual responsibilities. Everything else will become taken care of. Dear I am Princess Mom. Oh, sorry, my comment scrolled away. I have to scroll back. Where was it? You share, you love both Nish and I. I love Nish too. But are there any other people similar that I can recommend? You're hungry. If you listen to anyone one-pointedly, there is a connection to the entirety of all knowledge of the universe. Any being can be your portal, including your own. But I do recommend finding a wide range of different places for you to get to familiarize yourself with the different portals. But if you want to choose one, that can be sufficient. Basically, I'm saying, if Nish, for example, has made you hungry, you don't need anyone other than Nish. Nish can be your entire meal for the rest of your days. Nish is definitely a portal to the source, and you are welcome to eat from Nish's wisdom like a buffet. So yeah, I don't really have any more recommendations other than anyone in particular. Thank you for your blessings for everyone, dear Lori. Thank you, Banjo, for another tiny. Yippee. That's right, I'm 3 foot 5 inches. How'd you know, Slow Your Heart? Welcome, dear Gabriel. And I'm 25% made of tea. Dear Akan, you ask, so if you end life by your own hand because you hate life, are you enlightened? No, of course not. No, the end of life is not enlightenment. Enlightenment is living life to the fullest that you can. Suicide in no way is ever something that we should glorify. Yet, we shouldn't stigmatize those who have such tendencies. We should understand that if someone is struggling from something deeply traumatic, that it is a natural thing to question if they can take it, living through this body and this mind. And we should love and nourish them and help them, if they are open to being helped, come to a place of acceptance in their body and mind, and allow them to explore all other options before that option becomes seemingly the only option. That's right, I'm 0.00175 kilometers tall, Michelle. Welcome, dear Redeem. I am 3 apples tall, Cher Shakir. I like all these different units. Hello, dear Valerie. Hello, dear Adri. Dear Dream Traveler, you had asked, what kind of scents, like incense, do I prefer for meditation? And what's good for mood and chill? You know, meditation does not need any scent, but any scent that you like can be good for mood and chill. I happen to like sandalwood. Sandalwood's great. If you want some free incense, just go into nature. That's some free incense for you. Nature smells great. Thank you, dear angel, for your heart me. And tiny. Yahoo! Dear Lori, thank you for your trio of rosas. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Dear Dream Traveler, thank you for your heart me. Om Ham Ham Hrim Hrim Nama Shakti Shivaya Shiva Shaktiyai Nama Om. I'm happy that you love anything as much as music, dear Michelle. Hello, dear Crystal. Emilia, you ask, what do I think about gender? Gender is a wonderful form of expression, and we all have access to the infinitude of spectrum of expression. Dear Gabriel, you ask, Do I believe in reincarnation because it brings peace or because I think it makes sense? Both. What makes sense will bring a sense of peace, and what brings a sense of peace ultimately makes sense. But I don't believe in anything, even reincarnation. All I know is that I'm here now, and I'm grateful for it. To me, reincarnation is not a belief system, it's a perspective. And holding that perspective not only is peaceful, but it's also one that makes a lot more of the picture come together. Things fall into place. And in the scientific method, we call that fruitful. When a theory begets fruit in the sense of leading to many more conclusions, then that's a sign of a good theory. I have not had experiences with Mother Ayahuasca, dear Cece, but I can tell you that the most important component of ayahuasca, dimethyltryptamine, is produced naturally in your own body, and if you take care of your body, you can have just as complete as a spiritual experience without the need for any external substance. Yes, we do have a reading today, dear Laurie. There is a sock on my microphone, dear N. Whitcomb. But what kind of sock? That's the question. You're very welcome, dear Nikki. Yeah. Always better to be by yourself than be in an abusive relationship. Your children will thank you. Hare Krishna, dear Krishna Baldeon. Dear Azure, you're struggling to decide whether to stay with your partner. Is it worth trying again if they've cheated again? I think you know the answer to that question. I know, yeah. As soon as I use any term relating to the world of policy and government, a little banner appears on my live streams informing people about the decisions, the judicial decisions at the level of the nation. Trying not to use the buzzwords. Dear Less Than 3, you share you're scared of doing something. It may turn out really good or really bad. That's life. You never know. And there's no way to know. And it's okay, because things being really good or really bad aren't the source of happiness or sadness. We tend to associate happiness with things when they turn out really good, and sadness when they turn out really bad. But actually, happiness and sadness are perspectives, not outcomes. If you have a certain perspective, even in a really bad outcome, you can still be happy. And as I'm sure you know, there are perspectives that you can have even in really good outcomes where you're sad. So it's all about your perspective. Don't worry so much about the outcome of what you do, but the perspective that leads into what you do and comes from what you get as an outcome. That's called karma yoga, being one with your action, regardless of outcome. Thank you, dear angel, for your tiny dino. Yahoo! Mubi, you share everything is political. You could say that, but that's just a perspective. It's up to you to decide if that's true or not. You could also just say everything is spiritual and then focus on that instead. And you will be much happier if you focus on that instead. Don't take my word for it. Try it yourself. I understand where you come from, dear Akain. Yeah. It seems like we can be stuck in the world of politics, but ultimately that's your choice. You choose to give power to an authority greater than you. You choose to let other people decide if you're happy or not. You choose to let the decisions of others affect your inner freedom. Actually, if you pay close enough attention, it doesn't matter what happens in the world when it comes to what's in the inner world. If you can be happy in here, then nobody else can take that happiness away. And it is from that inner happiness that we make the world a better place. It's like the myth of trickle-down economics, trickle-down politics. If you believe that the decisions made up there will trickle down and one day benefit us as the people, then it's the very same lack of understanding of the trickle-down economics, that if the rich get richer, then somehow we will get richer too. It doesn't happen that way. Actually, economics and our welfare at the level of material and spiritual have to happen at our hearts. We first create a sense of abundance within our hearts, and then our individual worlds get better. We are not reliant on the whims of the world around us for a good life. There are people in some of the poorest nations of the world who live much happier lives than the most privileged people in the most privileged countries. And so if happiness is the goal, then clearly class or status, economic or political situation is independent from our happiness. And therefore, if it's independent and happiness is the true goal, we should be focusing on what's in our heart, as that does create a better place regardless of what's happening around us. Focus on what's inside your heart, and everything around you will get better. I promise. That's called manifestation in the most truest sense. Not manifesting material prosperity, but spiritual prosperity, where you are peaceful no matter what situation happens around you. And I wish that for you. I wish that for everyone. Thank you, dear angel, for your squirrel and ice cream cone. And your pair of tiny dinos. Yippee! Thank you, dear raven, for your forever rosa. Namah Karlim Ambita Me Shrim Nadita Me Hrim Devita Me Aim Sarasvatya Swaha. I'm glad you like the background music, dear Crystal. I've seen some lizards outside today, dear Kim, but none on the window today. And hello, dear goat noises. You're very welcome, dear Adri. Thank you, dear Chelsea. We just have to love and trust in our lives. And that's right, dear angel. Akain, you share the divine must have been asleep, deep asleep in Auschwitz. Not at all. Yes, that was a terrible tragedy, but not done by the divine, done by us ignorant humans, unto each other, completely unnecessarily, for no gain whatsoever. But the divine was not asleep. In fact, if you listen to anyone who is Jewish, they will tell you the Holocaust awakened a deeper spirit in their faith. They use that as a testament to the strength of their people, that they can withstand such atrocities and come out on the other side even closer to their Lord Adonai. There's a wonderful story of someone who lived many years in that concentration camp, and he discovered that no matter what they took away from him, they could take away his family, they could take away his food, they could take away his clothes, they could take away his sleeping quarters, but they could never take away his faith. They could never take away his love. They could never take away his happiness, his peace. And that is the reflection of the divine, awake, alive, and well, even amidst such terrible atrocities. And that's the power of faith. That's the power of spirit. And I revere that in everyone. And I pray that we can learn from those experiences from others in the past so that we don't have to repeat them all over again. And I pray for healing in all those generations that still have to carry the weight of such an experience. And I'm sorry for whatever you must have had to go through in order to play that card. There must be a lot of pain in you, and I'm sorry about that. And I'm here for you. I love you for the spirit that you are, the part of the universe that we share. And I'm sorry if you're feeling misunderstood in any way. And I'm here to understand you as best as I can. Thank you, dear Emma, for the Let Butterfly dances. Mitraya Namaha. And dear Fozia, thank you for your rose. Ravaye Namaha. Thank you, dear I am Princess Mom. Sorry about that, dear Tommy L. Hello, dear Lally Bro. Yeah. I don't watch much TV at the moment, dear Mubi. Any at all, really. I can't tell you the last time I sat in front of a TV or watched a series. The best series is life itself, every day. Yeah, the changing seasons. Summer. Fall. Winter. Spring. Less than 3, you ask, how can you know you're making the right decision? You don't. That's the best part. Because the decisions themselves aren't right or wrong. It's, do you give your fullest self to whatever you do? That's what's important. I never think about life in terms of, oh, is this the right decision or is that the wrong decision? I don't even think about life in terms of decisions. I know what I need to do. It's just, can I do it with all my being in love? That's what matters most. And I try to get better at that every day. I love that connection, dear AJ, with the masculine and feminine being left and right brain. Yeah. Absolutely. There's truth in that. And thank you, dear Nikki, for your choral. Suryaya Namaha. How did I learn or get into my spirituality, asks Kit Kat. I simply started deconstructing what I thought I knew about the world. All these assumptions we make about the world. What if we lived without assumptions? That was my spiritual awakening. I love that, dear CJ. Yeah, I was actually very blessed to be on the Dualistic Unity podcast once. I don't know if you know that. It's nice that you mentioned them. I enjoyed that talk I had a few years ago with them. Hello, dear Queen Silver Foxy. Being one with your actions regardless of outcome. I'm glad that resonated with you, dear Less Than 3. And thank you, dear Yan. Is this a projector behind me? Asks Yesiena. No, it's a tapestry. And I've digitally taken the color blue out, called a chroma key, in my streaming software. And then I've underlaid a video of stars moving. Has a nice effect to it. Thank you, Nikki, for your choral and team cheers. Om Bhanave Namaha. Hello, dear Ricky. There is a sock on my microphone. But what kind of sock, dear Washdog? Dear Less Than 3, you share you're peaceful deep down, but there's still anxiety and feels like your world's on fire. Yes, that is the nature of life. Get more of that peace that's deep down out into the world, and those fires shall be extinguished one by one. Thank you, Ricky. You don't have to trust me, dear Cody Jane. Discover the truth in these things yourself directly, and you will know. I'm sorry to hear that about your family, dear Michelle. And the book I was referencing that I forgot the name was Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Thank you, Azura. That's right. About the man who had to go through the concentration camp, but discovered that there was some part of him that could never be taken away. Hello, dear Vivian. Dear Less Than 3, you ask, how can we heal the heart? The heart can heal itself. We just have to stop poisoning it. If you just give your attention and awareness to the heart, it will naturally heal. And you take the poison out of the heart that's holding on, like hatred, like jealousy, like envy, that sort of thing. Yeah. You are a winner, dear Ricky. Dear Silgies, you ask, how do you know when's the right time to leave somebody you love? When the path of least resistance tells you that this person is no longer open to finding common ground in a way that will be healthy for us both again. When these communication methods seem to just be loops that are returning and returning to the same place without improvement, then perhaps it's time to move on. If you've already given plenty of chances to come to agreement, and they've been saying wonderful things, but their actions don't reflect that, listen to what the actions are telling you, because they speak louder than the words. But you never have to move on from love itself. Love, even for the people that you separate from, are still going to be there. That love always remains, and you can still love them, but from a distance. You can still appreciate the time you've had together. You can have a validation that that was meant to be for the time. And maybe you will return to being together again. But for the time being, if their actions are telling you that they're not really serving you as their lover anymore, they have some unhealthy coping mechanism that they're continuing to give their time and energy to, and they're not open to being helped or assisted by you, then it is time for you to go on your way and continue to love yourself first and foremost. If, however, there still is a communication channel open and things are getting better, then absolutely it's your choice to keep working on that with them, and I wish the best for you regardless of what happens. I trust your judgment. Dear Crossfires, you wonder why they don't offer Sanskrit as a language to learn in college or high school. I think they do in India. Yeah, I think it would be a very big shift in our Western society if we wanted to learn the ancient language of India in our Western classrooms. Something big would have to change for that to be. It makes sense that, we prefer other languages like Latin or Greek or German or French or Spanish. It's more relevant to the Western world. But I think there are many places that do offer Sanskrit. For example, kind of as a poetic beauty, poetic justification, after the British Raj of India, Britain does offer a whole bunch of courses on Indology, which I do think is beautiful. I'm not exactly sure about the quality of their perspectives, given that they used to rule India, but they do have some of the leading courses on Sanskrit for Western audience. Hello, dear life. Hello, dear P. Jerome. Goodbye, dear Jackie. I'm glad you resonated with that, dear Gran. Thank you, Guided by Luna, for your heart me. Om Pushne Namah. Dear Tatwamasi, thank you for your quintet of roses. Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namah. Hello, dear Mirto. You asked Natalie, who had asked, how do you cope with chronic pain and tiredness? One of the things you can do is ensure that your endocannabinoid system is working. The reason that CBD works so well for chronic pain, for example, is because it supplements an endocannabinoid system that isn't working correctly. That means that your inner child isn't coming out to play as much as it can. Spiritually speaking, your endocannabinoid system represents your sense of play and wonder. That you get to get down on your hands and knees and play with dirt, play with sand, play with the elements, play with your toys, be out in nature. Spend time basking in the sun. Spend time going in water. Yeah. I think tiredness has to do with our circadian rhythm and our connection to the sun and moon. If you can ensure that you have a good morning and night routine, and that your diet is one that is without as much as you can. I know it's not easy in our culture, but if you can avoid tamasic foods, these are foods that decrease your mind's mental activity. That would be very good for your energy levels. And avoid foods that activate your mind's overthinking, the rajasic foods. And prefer sattvic foods that have a balance between them. Sattvic foods include lentils. It includes grains. It includes things like whole vegetables, fruits and nuts, seeds, natural oils. Those are excellent for your mental health. Not just physical health, but literally the effect that these foods have on your mind is phenomenal. Assuming you are able to substitute these things, an egg-free diet is really good for mental energy too. Eggs are tamasic. They lower your mind's abilities to have clear, radiant, and harmonizing energy throughout your day. And of course, meat also falls into that category. But in general, diet is a conversation that's very sensitive, so I think that's everything I want to say for now on that topic. Chocolate is good for your endocannabinoid system as well. Dark chocolate non-sweetened, non-milk chocolate, just dark chocolate. Yeah. Spices like cardamom is good. Fennel seeds, fenugreek, cumin, ajwain. These are all excellent seeds as well. Thank you for understanding, dear Kiani. I love those videos where cats' meows are turned into songs. Those are great. No, I'm not Indian, dear Mushy Man. But I did incidentally just answer your question about the food I consume. But remember that every body is different, and listen to your body and what it needs. Good night, dear Karma. Some music shared by Empress Energy. Dear Angel Wings, you ask, what do I think about the apocryphal papers? The apocryphal text, the books that aren't generally included in modern versions of the Bible, they're wonderful. It's good to explore the vast array of spiritual literature. Hello, dear Sean. Hello, dear Guided by Luna. Dear Banjo, you feel fear that your father will pass while you're not speaking, but he does not respect you. What to do? Cherish every memory you do have of him. If your father does pass while you're not speaking, that's his choice, not yours. That's his weight to carry into his next life. And it's your grace to let that go. Your father will always be your father in other ways. And you can hold space for the father he is. And you can set boundaries in your heart for the father that he wasn't. And remember that you are always guided by fatherly and motherly forces. If they come from a person that was biological or adoptive or in your friend group or even in nature or in other ways. You will always be connected to everyone in your life, beyond form, in your heart too. Bhagavad Gita is a great text, dear Kim. Yeah. Dear Sarah, am I upset? No, I'm not upset, dear Sarah. If I haven't answered your question, it's either because it didn't come through or I'm taking my time to go through every comment one by one. And hello, dear AOJ. I'm never upset with any of you. I could never be upset with any of these Sanghis. You're all so lovely. And thank you, dear Silgies. Dear Ennis, you have a tendency to try things even though you know the outcome will be bad, but something inside you wants it. You like to learn things the hard way, and I respect that. It's okay, dear Michelle. Hello, dear BM555. I'm here every day. Yeah, dark chocolate's very good. I am 100% sure about eggs. Yes, eggs are tamasic. They lower your mental capacity to think clearly. But they have great physical benefits otherwise. So if you're someone who is an athlete, for example, someone who is working on your physical, it depends on your lifestyle what you want. I'm not saying eggs are bad. I'm just saying there's a trade-off. There's a physical benefit and there's a mental deficit. If you are working on your physical right now, then eggs are very good. But if you're working on your spiritual, which is all to do with your mental health, then yeah, I would stay away from eggs. Unless for whatever reason you need them for some medical reason, or you find it hard to avoid in your culture, which is understandable, then yeah. Fennel seeds are great for digestion, dear Azura. Yeah. Is sugar tamasic as tatvamasi? Sugar is a class of different substances. Some of them are tamasic, some of them are rajasic, some of them are sattvic. Sugar is not one molecule, it's a type of molecule. It's a saccharide, specifically a monosaccharide or a disaccharide or a trisaccharide. Glucose is obviously good in the body, but it's best received when broken down from sources like fruit, which are full of fructose. Fructose is a very sattvic form of sugar. The sugar that we get from fruit is very sattvic, and of course fruits are sattvic. Lactose is a tamasic kind of sugar. I would avoid lactose even if you're lactose tolerant, because it's a stress hormone in cows. Cows secrete more lactose the more stress they're under, and ideally a stress-free cow will not produce any lactose. And I would avoid sugar supplements too. I mean, sugar, like, what do you call them? The 0-calorie sweeteners. Don't do that. Like aspartame, which is a known carcinogen, for example. I wouldn't eat any food that's pretending to be another food. If a food is pretending to be another food, you already know that it's hiding something. Hello, Odin. Yeah, listen to your body and what it needs. Yeah. Eden, you had asked, how can you truly love yourself? You hear that advice a lot, but you still don't know exactly how to do it exactly. The truth is, you cannot technically love yourself. If you were to interpret that sentence absolutely literally, it's impossible. And it's impossible because yourself is the source of love. You cannot possibly love the source of love. It's already an infinite abode of love. It isn't open to love. It is love itself. Your body and mind, which is not the self, but tools, instruments that the self uses to experience this world. You can bring love to your body and to your mind. That's what most people call self-love, but it's technically not self-love because you're not your body and you're not your mind. But anyway, taking care of your body and your mind is what's important in this context. So body love and mind love means you take care of your body's health and your mind's health, and that you allow them simple comforts without overindulging in them, and you allow your body and mind to have some sense of discipline from overindulgence too, so that it doesn't get dependent on any sensual experience in order to function properly. This means taking care of your exercise, your diet, and by the way, I think it always needs to be said that when we use the word diet, we don't mean losing weight. Most people use diet in the sense of eating less. I really want to clarify that diet does not mean eating less. Diet means eating good foods. The purpose of good foods is not because they're lower calorie. In fact, some good foods are even higher calories than junk foods. A good diet is not low calorie. A good diet is not too much, not too little. A good diet is just nutritious. Eating nutritious foods that makes your body feel good. Not just pleasurable, but that your muscles get what they need, your bones get what they need, your eyes, your brain, your nervous system. Each organ gets what they require. That's a good diet. Exercise means moving your muscles, stretching, getting fresh air. All of that's bodily love. Mental love means abstaining from negativity in the media, means not ruminating on insecurities. It means affirmation. It means learning from new places, exercising your memory. Playing games is really good for your mind, video games included. Board games, card games, word games, all of that's good for your mind. That's body love, mind love. It means taking care of these instruments so that they become the most functional tools of our human experience. Hello, Cheddar Chords. Dear Alberito, you ask, what do I believe? You mean like in a god, or what religion is this? I don't think about a god, I don't think about religion, I think about love. Love is my religion, and it comes in many forms for many people. Some people find love through religion, some people find love through different forms of God. I see the truth in that too, but my first and foremost belief is loving you as fellow parts of this universe. I love you and I believe in you. That's my belief system. It's very simple. Dear Karma, you ask, how do I deal with anger? Be patient with your emotions. Anger, like all feelings, are temporary. They come to pass. If you're angry and the situation will not benefit from that anger, then wait it out. Wait until you're feeling better to make a decision. In other words, relieve anger from its duty to act in that moment. Know that even if you have responsibilities in this moment, you are not qualified in your responsibilities if you're acting from an emotion that won't make things better. Yes, people want decisions from you in life. Life is full of decisions to make, but nobody is expecting you to make a decision when you're not in a capacity to do so. You have to be able to have the capacity to properly make a decision in order to do so. When extreme emotions take that capacity away, then we are, for that moment, relieved of responsibility. So affirm that if you can remember the next time anger arises, that you are not responsible for this thing when under the influence of anger. Wait it out until you have a more free mind to do so. Thank you, dear Rose. Dear Yamaman, Yamamana Chirp Farm. It's a fun name to say. You ask, on a scale from 1 to 10, how spiritual am I? Spirituality is not measured by any quantitative analysis. Spirituality is not objective, it's subjective. Not quantitative, it's qualitative. And it's not me who gets to tell you that. It's those around me. If the people around me perceive kindness, which I can only hope but never expect, then I am being spiritual. And if they don't perceive kindness in me, then I'm not truly being spiritual. Because what use is spirituality if it is not expressed through the highest form, that is kindness? And I can only pray that I be kind unto others, and I can never judge that for myself. I have no idea how kind I am. I only hope to be more kind every day. You're welcome, dear Banjo. Dear Marcy, you ask how to cope if you how to cope if your boyfriend cuts his hair after 4 years of growing it out. Well, you know what they say. How do you know the difference between crush and love? Well, if it's a crush, you're heartbroken if they cut their hair. But if it's love, it doesn't matter what they look like or how they change their appearance. You love the same soul. What you can do, take a little lock of that hair if you can. You know, take a little memento. If you have difficulty letting it go for him, offer it to fire, to Agni, say a prayer, and then chant the bija. Swaha. Yeah. Otherwise, what I did is I fell in love with long hair. And then I realized that I could just grow it out myself, and then I'd always have long hair. And as soon as I realized that I could have that which I love, then I no longer needed it from anyone else. I pray for both you and your boyfriend. Namaste, dear Coco. Dear Cody Jane, you ask, what is a spiritual way to get out of the freeze response, and how to get out of it? The fight, flight, or freeze, or fawn. That's the activation of your sympathetic nervous system, your solar energy. If you can try to balance that out with your parasympathetic nervous system, your lunar energy, that's very good. One very simple thing to do is put your left hand under your right armpit. I kid you not, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Put your left hand under your right armpit. What are we playing? What's that game? Put your left arm in, put your left arm out. Put your left arm in and spin it all about. The hokey pokey. Isn't that it? It sounds like a move in the hokey pokey. Put your left hand under your armpit and wiggle all around. No, what this does is it suppresses your parasympathetic nervous system, which is associated with the right side of your body. And it activates your sympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest response, which balances out the fight or flight or freeze response. Another simple thing you can do is block your right nostril and breathe through your left nostril. Same thing. Due to the hemisphere lateralization. That's something physical you can do. Mentally remember that your duty in life is to be engaged with it. We are not mere passive witnesses. We are observers, but that observation is dynamic. It is interactive. It is immersive. Doing something about it is always better than not doing something about it. And if there is fear, that fear is meant to be there. Fear doesn't have to go away in order for courage to arise. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the acceptance and attending to it. Then do a little prayer. That's the spirit of karma yoga. Engage in life prayerfully. Do I like tofu? I do like tofu, actually. Yeah. I am a soy boy. Happily so. Thank you, dear Inevitable, for your rose. Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Thank you, dear Druidia, for being part of the love here. Dates are great substitutes, yeah. Dates are good. Yes. How about gluten? I don't know. I don't know enough to comment on that. Yeah. I'm certainly no nutritionist. I'm only recently starting to learn these things. I'll happily share what I can, and I can only pray to be humble with the things that I have yet to learn. I know that there are many people that have an adverse effect to gluten, and certainly that's something that we should pay attention to. I can tell you that I eat gluten, and at least at this point in my life, I haven't noticed any problems with that, but maybe that's just my body. If you do find there's any substance that your body negatively reacts to, like for example, my partner, she is very sensitive to gluten, but according to her own understanding, that has to do with latching as a baby. We get so much of our autoimmune response from those first few moments with our mother. Our connection to our mother has a lot to do with our autoimmunity, and people with autoimmune conditions can have problems with gluten for whatever reason. I don't know what the mechanism behind that is, but it's something that my partner's noticed, and she's very knowledgeable about that because she has to be for the sake of her health. Thank you, dear woo-woo. I'm glad that looking healthy suits me. I hope looking healthy suits all of us. And thank you, dear Druidia, for your heart mate. Om Narayanaya Vidmahe Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat. Dear Anisoda, hello. You ask, you know when you are around someone who is sending you criticism and negativity, what do you do? Try to redirect the conversation if you can. Be that person that finds the positive in it without invalidating their perspective. True positivity isn't in contradiction of the negative. A lot of us feel like to be positive means to ignore the negative. Like, for example, let's say you have a boyfriend, and that boyfriend, you want to say that they're an idiot sometimes. I've been an idiot boyfriend, I can say that. At times. Instead of thinking, oh, my boyfriend is an idiot, or saying that to them, most people think the alternative is, no, my boyfriend is really smart, I should think that way instead. But there's a middle ground. True positivity doesn't contradict the negativity. Instead, you can think and say, my boyfriend has such a potential to be intelligent. He could just utilize that more. In that way, you validate the observation, your feelings, and yet you've also created a positive spin, just in a more helpful way. It's entirely equivalent. I mean, in essence, you are saying the same thing, but in a much more helpful way. That my boyfriend could utilize his intelligence much better. And suddenly that's an affirmation to him, rather than finding fault, for example. So if you're in a conversation where people are talking about negativity, try to spin it, reframe it in a positive sense, rather than just saying the opposite of what they're saying. Agree with them, but look at it from another perspective that's helpful, rather than harmful. That is to say, find the possibility amidst the limitation. And I'm happy to go through any example with anyone. I like to play that game. Point out some fault or problem or limitation, and we can explore the possibilities, the potential that's hidden within that. Thank you, Medic Man, for your heart me. Marichaye Namaha. And dear Ek, thank you for your rose. Thank you for your Ek rose in Hindi. One in Hindi is Ek. Comes from Sanskrit. Ekah or Ekam, depending on the grammatical case. Adityaya Namaha. Myrto, you share that diet in ancient Greek means I live with a certain way. I like that. Yeah, it's a certain way of living. Hello, dear Holly Hunter. Thank you. Hello, dear Becca. Dear AOJ, you ask, is pleasure good for your mind? You are allowed to experience pleasurable things. There is no harm in experiencing pleasurable things. But if we chase pleasure as if it's the MacGuffin of life, the Holy Grail, then that will have adverse consequences over time. It's a trade-off between momentary pleasure and long-term feeling of accomplishment. And that long-term feeling of accomplishment is going to be more satisfying. But that doesn't mean you starve yourself from pleasurable things. You might end up hurting yourself more doing that also. Just as the Buddha said in the middle way, it is not a path of overindulgence nor a path of severe austerity, but a path of recognizing the impermanence of both pleasure and pain, and striving for something beyond them both. Chess is great exercise for the mind, dear goat noises. Thank you, Becca. Rhiannon, you ask, what foods are best for clarity of mind? Simple foods that don't tax your digestive system, nor do they overactivate your nervous system. Fruit is the best of all foods. The best food you could ever eat is fruit. Foods that are full of naturally occurring water and sweetness. Yeah, fruits and many other fruits that are considered culinary vegetables, like cucumbers, for example, and pumpkins and squash. Other vegetables like tubers are great too, potatoes and yams. Shh, don't tell my people I said that. It's yamableism for me to eat yams. Nuts and seeds are great as well. Legumes, really good for your mind, for clarity of mind. Rice, yeah. Having a low salt and high in natural sweet diet. We tend to demonize sugar as if it's this terrible thing. But a diet high in natural sugar is actually really good for your mind. This means fructose rather than adding glucose to pastries and, eating all these confectionaries. I'm talking about apples. I'm talking about bananas. I'm talking about mangoes. I'm talking about watermelon and pear and oranges and that type of stuff. Lots of sugar in those things, but the good kind of sugar that your body loves. We absolutely need sugar to function. In fact, it's one of the most important molecules in the body. Everything that your body does requires a certain molecule called adenosine triphosphate, ATP. If your body had a currency system, it would be ATP. Without ATP, your muscles won't fire and you won't be able to move. You won't be able to do anything. Your organs won't work, your muscles won't work, your nervous system won't work. And what is adenosine triphosphate made of? It is made of, mostly, sugar and air. The air that you breathe combines with the sugar in your diet and water. And you get phosphate as well from your diet too. That makes ATP, and then your body functions from the breaking down of ATP. And then you breathe out CO2. So yeah, having a healthy source of sugar is so important. Dear Your Little Moth, you ask, how can one stop ruminating as much on insecurities? It's gonna sound like saying just don't do that, but there is truth to saying ruminate on other things and continually practice that. Ruminating is a feature of our mind. It has the capacity to reflect on things. You can utilize that. So instead of trying not to ruminate, just ruminate on other things instead. Continually bring your mind back to the things that you're grateful for. Have a gratitude journal. That can be an easy thing. A mantra. Repeat a mantra over and over again. Have a mantra, and when you notice that you are ruminating on something negative, it's time for my mantra. A mantra routine is like packing peanuts for the brain. If you fill your mind with your mantra, no other negative thought can get in. Packing peanuts. You can pick anything. You can pick Om Namah Shivaya, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Brahm Bhairavaya Namo Namaha, Om Kring Kalikaye Namaha. Any of those can be great mantras to repeat. It can be an affirmation too. You can affirm yourself of some truth that I am here and now. At this moment, I am okay. My true beauty is within me. Those things work great too. But mantras are phonetically designed to be able to capture your attention. I mean, there's nothing like a nice sequence of sounds from the ancient language of Sanskrit. Dear Jolly Rancher, you ask, how come I pray to the Hindu gods? I don't pray to any form of the divine in particular. I pray just to the divine of all religions. That very same divine, known by many names in Hinduism, is known as Adonai. In Judaism is known as the Holy Spirit, the Father and the Son. In Christianity is known as Allah. In Islam, it's all the same divine, regardless of what form. The recipient of prayer is always beyond form, as the space of presence itself. AOJ, you've heard someone say that pleasure is a shadow of joy, but we ought to avoid pleasure. We ought to avoid chasing pleasure as if it's our only goal in life. Pleasure will come, and so will pain, regardless of what we do in life. We can enjoy pleasure, and we can take care of ourselves when we're in pain, but we should be striving for something that's beyond both pleasure and pain. I like that connection with the song by John Lennon, Dear Eugene. Thank you. You're welcome, dear Karma. Yeah. Truly, I can't tell anyone what they put in their body. That's always their choice. And my diet never came from somebody else telling me what to eat. If I think back on all the dietary choices I made in life, it just came from being in tune with what I want in life. So being in tune with what I want has shaped my diet to be what it is, and I can't change that for anyone else. I can only offer possibilities for others, and it's up to them to decide whether they want to pursue them or not. Thank you, dear Cody Jane. Dear Smiley Face, you ask, have I ever gone through spiritual or religious psychosis? I'm not exactly sure what that specifically pertains to. I'm not a psychiatrist, nor has a psychiatrist diagnosed that for me, but there have been times where I've had an unhealthy relationship with my spirituality, and that did have an adverse effect on my mental health. And that came from feeling like this whole universe was an illusion. And you get that imprint from a form of spirituality known as Neo-Advaita, which is really new. That's where the neo prefix comes from. Advaita means non-duality. I love the Advaita traditions of the East, but I didn't realize that a lot of the teachings we hear about them aren't traditional, but are recent fabrications of the Western mind. The idea that Maya, this material existence, translates to illusion, and that this ego is something to destroy, is actually a recent fabrication. If you just go back only 100 years or so, the idea of Advaita, non-duality, has nothing to do with seeing this world as an illusion, nor does it have to do with destroying the ego or any part of your mind. Actually, it has to do a lot more with becoming part of everything, so that you feel your sense of self, not just in this mind and body, but with everything. And when I understood that, my mental health got so much better, because I really was beating myself up over an unhealthy perspective that came from this neo-Advaita, this very recent kind of reinterpretation of Advaita, that's non-dual perspective. Yeah, understanding that yes, you are divine, but in part, as we all are, and we all have an equal role to play, and truly we exist spiritually and physically also. Our physical body is definitely part of our reality, and our mind too, and we need to take care of them. They're a part of us. Yeah, it's good to have this mental and physical experience. Developing a healthy relationship with them is so important. Dear Tamim, you ask, do I believe that the Lord expects a certain path for all of humanity? In all my prayers with the Lord, I have felt an affirmation that everyone is on a unique path. And sometimes those paths draw parallel to each other, that we can draw a big line around them and say that this is one path that everyone's on. But if you look closely, every human being is so unique. Even within a single religion, there are many denominations. Within a single denomination, there may be many branches. And within a single branch, each person has a unique experience with the divine. And that's beautiful. I think the divine wants us all to have a diverse path back to source, where we all experience the different infinitudes of that great being, which we all are part of, have come from, persist through, and return to. So the path is our path that we are all on together, regardless of the individual form that it comes in. Dear Woo Woo, you had asked, why do you find it difficult or inhibited to be kind or expressive? You had a rough past. Well, I think you answered it yourself. You had a rough past where probably your kindness and expression was taken advantage of. And I'm sorry for you and for everyone that goes through that. That is a journey of coming back to trust that you are allowed to express yourself and be kind. And if others take advantage of that, it is your right to set boundaries where they need to be and continue to shine your light, regardless of if other people reflect that or not. Thank you, your little moth, for your quartet of roses. Om Savitri Namah. Dear Oren, thank you for your light. Om Arkaya Namaha. And dear Usha Priyaji, thank you for your hanging lights and hearts and tiny. Yippee! Om Bhaskaraya Namaha. Dear Franklin, thank you for your heart me and ice cream cone. Om Kameshwaraya Namaha. Thank you for another team tears, dear Oren. Om Bhagamalinyaya Namaha. Dear Angie, thank you for your heart, man. Nitya Klanaya Namaha. And dear Dancing Aurora Borealis, thank you for the dizzy bird. Vahnivasinyaya Namaha. That's funny, angel number. You've tried to fast, dear goat noises. It is so hard. Any advice? That will come naturally when it's time. You don't need to fast if you're dealing with other things in life right now. When naturally you feel inspired. Yeah, you know what? I could go the rest of this day. Or you know what? I could go until lunch. Or I could go until dinner. Then, take advantage of that opportunity when it naturally arises. If you are forcing yourself to do any spiritual practice, then there's not really any merit gained. If you are struggling to do something right now, no matter what you do, then maybe it's not time yet, and that's okay. There's other things to focus on before that. Dear DJ, you ask, do I think the spiritual path is la la la, let's be kind, let's pray? That's absolutely a part of it. Having fun, having a kind of lightheartedness. Being kind is the ultimate expression of our spirit. And praying is a great way to release burdens in our heart. But spirituality also means being engaged with the forces of life, no matter how heartbreaking they may be, no matter how difficult it may be for us to face. There are some things that deserve our attention, even if they're hard, even if they're difficult to bear. Yeah, spirituality is not ignoring the grievances of life. It's being fully attentive to all of life with a spirit of loving devotion, in my opinion. Thank you, Sarah, for your rosa. Bhairundaya Namaha. I will put this live stream on YouTube, as I always do, dear Nikki. Modified food is generally not as bad as they say it is. When you get into health circles, you can easily get the impression that, all modified food is bad. But sometimes that modification can really help bring out nutritional content that otherwise would not be there. For example, during droughts or during a lack of nutrition in our soil. We have very intelligent scientists. Remember that. Science isn't working against spirituality. It's working side by side and helping fortify our foods against droughts, and being more repellent towards insects can be very helpful. And making sure that our population gets enough food is one of the biggest problems in the food distribution system. Farmers have a really tough time growing food. So not all GMO is bad. Don't think if you're on the spiritual path that you have to avoid GMO. No, it can be good. I would say if the food doesn't contain seeds, well, what does that tell us about Mother Nature? Mother Nature has evolved with us to have seeds, for example. That would be one of the things that I'd prefer if you can get fruits that have seeds in them. It's a balance that Mother Nature and we have, that she gives us fruit for the purpose of her seeds being returned to her soil. So that kind of GMO, for example, I would not recommend because, hey, Mother Nature is trying to grow, have babies of her own. We should let her have those seeds. But yeah, in general, GMO is okay. In fact, you can even have even healthier foods based on the intelligent work that brilliant scientists have put into it. We can balance the spiritual and the scientific perspective at the same time. And I love finding that balance. What does it mean to be positive? Asks DJ. To be positive means to see the practicality, that truly what is within your control is your right to do, and what is not in your control is not in your duty to be to ruminate over. We are here to fulfill our part, not to be burdened by what is not in our part. That your best is enough, and sometimes all you can do, actually all the time, all that you can do is enough, and that you're not expected to do something that you can't do. Positivity is looking at the possibilities rather than the limitations. It means creating rather than destroying. Can I heal? Asks Dolly. I will not comment on that because I refuse to identify with any healing abilities. But if so happens that there is healing around me, know that that comes from the divine and not from me. The divine is the source of healing that pervades everyone, including you and I. All healing is a possibility. We can only invite a space for that possibility to come out and play. Greetings, dear Hajar. Hello, dear Abel. I don't think I'm actually lagging in terms of the latency. What you're hearing is live. I'm just 58 messages behind because there's been wonderful engagement today. And instead of only responding to the most recent, I always make sure that everyone's comments gets read and attended to one by one. So I thank you for your patience. Dear Dancing Barefoot, you ask, can I please explain when the green Tara mantra should be utilized? You can use the green Tara mantra anytime you want to feel like you are being healed through spiritual wisdom. The green Tara represents the divine as a form of spiritual healing. I like the word for earth and heart, and the word for heart and earth. And it's a beautiful connection, dear Spectromo. Mother Luna, the moon, is a beautiful part of our existence. Yeah, the sun, the moon, they all have a part to play. Mother Earth, all the stars and the planets. I'm grateful for them all. Dear Dolly Doozy, you share your boyfriend has a short temper with the modern world and technology and IKEA furniture. So the positive reframed version of that would be, your boyfriend appreciates going back to traditional ways, building things based on intuition, simple set of principles, rather than abstract and terse instructions that have been made the way simply for the sake of saving costs. You need to find courage, strength, and willpower today. I love that. What is the best fruit? Asks Holly. There is no singular best fruit, in my opinion. Eating a wide variety of fruits is best. Dear Steph, you ask, what do I know about astral bodies? You have a physical experience that's made of flesh and bones. You have an emotional and mental experience that is made up of energetic pathways known as nadis and chakras. And that is your astral body. Another name for your astral body is your mental body. It is your mind. Your mind, including your senses, your indriyas, your sense of sight, hearing, sound, taste, smell, touch. Your intellect, your sense of self, your memory, your imagination, your emotions, your feelings, all of that is your astral body. Why is that called your astral body? Because another name for the dream world is your astral world. And the body that you experience in dream, which is purely senses, without physical, pure emotions, mind, thought, identity, that is your astral body. And there's a third body too, called the causal body. In Sanskrit, there's karana, which is the causal, the sukshma, which is the subtle, which is often translated to dream or astral as well, given its associations with the dream world. And then there's the physical, the sthula. Reality takes place on these three levels. Dear Melancholy, you ask, remember when I said not to do any cleaning the night before the full moon? Why is that? Because that night should be dedicated to spiritual practice completely, to your sadhana. You spend the day meditating, chanting, studying scripture. That is the best to do the night before the full moon, and the night before the new moon too. That's called Chaturdashi, and it's the 14th day in the lunar calendar, the 14th Tithi. Chaturdashi represents a liminal space when there's still a sliver of darkness or a sliver of light before the full moon, Purnima, or the new moon, Amavasya. That liminal space is best utilized for spiritual practice. Hello, Ninmax. Thank you, dear Sarah, for your rosa. Vajoreshwaryai namaha. And dear Zach, thank you for your heart meme. Om Shivadutyai namaha. Will the moon police come after you if you end up cleaning on Chaturdashi? No. Yeah, it's not that you shouldn't do it. It's just that you will get so much more benefit from doing something else. And it's recommended to do that first and foremost. There's no such thing as a spiritual practice that'll end up negatively impacting your life. If it ends up negatively impacting your life, it's something else. It's something other than a spiritual practice. Spiritual practice is all about eternally getting higher on the path. There's no setbacks. There's no lost progress. You're never going to be cursed by the divine. There's never any punishment. There is only blessings or the lack of blessings. And sometimes the lack of blessings can feel like a punishment, but it's actually just true neutral. The divine can only ever be true neutral or positive with you. But there's never going to be any sort of negative relationship. The moon police are not going to come after you for doing or not doing something. Dear Medic Man, thank you for your rose. Twaritaya Namah. Dear Mirto, you ask, how should you react when people try to humiliate you? Be humble. Have humility. Humiliation is not necessarily a negative thing. It's a test of our humility. Can you joke about yourself freely without getting defensive? Are you secure enough in your sense of self that you can laugh with them and not at them? Someone says, hey, you're pretty dumb. You go, yeah, I am sometimes, but I try to get smarter every day. And if you can point out any way in which I can get smarter, then yeah, I'd happily learn from you, for example. Someone says, hey, you're a silly goose. You can say, yeah, I am a silly goose. Basically own it. Yeah. They're trying to point out something that you shouldn't like about yourself. But if you like everything they point out about you, then the joke's on them. What's that? You're pointing out an insecurity within yourself, in me? Oh, well, I'm happy to accept that as a part of me. I'm sorry that you seem to project that. You should love that part of yourself too, just as I love that part about me. For example, hello dear Eva Nora. Welcome dear Kawaii. What is pleasure? You like pain a little, shares Gregory. Yeah. Enjoying the sense of pushing your comforts to new horizons, exploring the limitations of the body. That can be a very tantric thing to do. You're welcome, dear, your little moth. Mantras are the packing peanuts of the mind. Remember that. Eva Nora, you ask, how does one get the motivation to create when your space is very messy? Well, you clean your space. Yeah, if you're struggling to do something because it's messy, well then I think you already know what the next step is. And if the mess is really big, that you don't feel like you can do it, just do a little bit at a time. Honestly, if you spend 5 minutes cleaning every day, the mess will be gone by, only a matter of days. I mean, no matter how bad the mess is, if you just spent a little bit every day, that little bit would certainly be more than what you're doing. Because it takes less than 5 minutes to make the room messy, doesn't it? You can make your whole room messy in less than 5 minutes. So imagine what 5 minutes can do when it comes to cleaning it up. Or even 2 minutes. Just set a little timer on your phone. And that'll be enough for today. Dear Avanora, you had asked, how does one heal from built-up emotions without attaching stories to them when feeling through them? Our emotions are associated with stories. That is true. But do they decide the narrative of your life? That's the narrative we get from the outside world. But what's our story? How do we want to write it in? What does this experience of life mean to me, regardless of what the world seems to test in me? The world's always testing our patience. The world's always trying to get us to divide others. The world is always trying to poke us and prod us, to test if we are really secure in our inner world. If we are secure in our inner world, then we get to write the narrative of our life. Emotions, they come and go. Your truth is not found in your feelings. Yes, feelings are part of you and they're valid, but your truth is something transcendental to what you're feeling. Your truth is transcendental to all your sensations. There's something that you know is true beyond that which you feel, see, hear, taste, and smell. What is that truth beyond those sensations? And how do you heal from built-up emotions? Well, you do let them out in a healthy way. You're allowed to have emotions. You're allowed to express your emotions. Find a way to express them. Creativity is probably the best way to express your emotions. Yeah, physical and spiritual go hand in hand. They are inseparable companions. What a beautiful reminder, unbearable compassion. From Hanumanji, when I don't know who I am, I serve you. When I know who I am you. Hello, Franklin. Thank you, Carrie Lou, for your heart, me. Nityaya Namaha. Dear Tattvamasi, you ask, how did I get into Neo-Advaita from Buddhism, if I want to share? I think it had to do with the lectures I was watching on YouTube. just, like YouTube's autoplay feature. If you keep scrolling, usually it doesn't end up getting deeper and deeper unless you really consciously curate your algorithm. Usually it just gets more and more surface level. Unfortunately, you might start off with a really deep and beautiful video about Buddhism, and then by the 10th video, it's some guy telling you about how the world is fake and you should kill your ego and that everyone is just an NPC. And it's like, what? How did I go from such a beautifully deep and authentic spiritual tradition to something so inhuman, something so impersonal, something contrary to the truth of our everyday lived experience? But if you don't pay attention close enough, then you won't even notice that that wasn't in theme with the original Buddhist idea of the first video. You'll be thinking it's all canon. This is all part of the spiritual path. This guy's telling me the real stuff, but really you've strayed from the original truth, which is so simple and beautiful. That you have a body, you have a mind. These are parts of you. They are just not all of you. You have a world. You're part of the world. There are many other people that are part of the world with you. And together, this whole world and every part is an expression of the divine. And you are a part of that divine too. We're all one. It's very beautiful, very simple. But I had to go through that experience to realize it too. That's something I'm grateful for as well. And it always leads back to some simple truth anyway. Something that's not true, you'll never stay there forever. If it's not true, it's only going to be a temporary part of your life because eventually it will stop working for you. If it is true, it will continue to be a part of your life, and that can be your simple guide. Much love, dear Angie. Thank you. Dear Lazarus, you asked, did God choose me to yap to people? I don't yap, I yam. I'm yammering rather than yapping. But maybe I should change my name to Yamsox instead of Yamsox. Maybe that'd be more appropriate. God chose all of us to speak what's in our heart. And truly, it's up to us to decide what we want to share. The divine comes in many forms, and that includes through all of us. That doesn't mean that any one of us are the entirety of what it means to be divine. Of course not. We are all bits and pieces of this great divine play, and we each have a role to play in that. And as long as you are speaking from a place of kindness and love, then you are speaking from truth, because the highest truths are always the ones that extol kindness and love. And that's really what the divine wants to be through all of us. The divine lives through kindness, through love, through compassion, through patience. And I love that. Dear you, can I please talk about synchronicities? Synchronicities are energetic confirmations that there truly is an interconnectedness of this life, and what you experience inside gets reflected outside. I lost where I was in the comment section. Where was I? Scrolling. There I am. And thank you, Dancing Aurora Borealis, for your swan. Nilapata Kinyai Namaha. Good evening, dear Daniel. Welcome, dear Freya. Hello, dear Miss Ash 2K. Hello, Zach. Dear Matthew, you share you got initiated into Kriya Yoga. That's wonderful. I'm happy to hear that for you, dear Matthew. I'm so grateful that we share an appreciation for Autobiography of a Yogi. You've been growing your own fruits and veggies. That's wonderful, dear Miss Ash 2K. Rhiannon, you ask, do we know why watermelons have less seeds or none than they used to? It's through selective breeding, mostly. Yeah, we've bred them out. Yeah, but if you can choose the variations that have seeds, Mother Nature will very much appreciate that. I know it's a little more annoying to have to chew around the seeds and spit them out, but we co-evolved with the seeds in our fruit for a reason. I'm sorry, I don't know who those people are, dear Shay. Dear Kim, you ask, who's one of my favorite scientists? I think some of the great physicists that come before us have been wonderful, but I was learning about this scientist that please forgive me for forgetting her name. I recently learned about her just before going live today. Maybe one of you know her name. She studied astrophysics and actually worked on a couple missions for NASA. And then she ended up, as a trigger warning, I won't go into details because I don't know about, she experienced SA, and she learned that when she wanted to fight against or stand up for herself, for justice, for that terrible situation, that they wouldn't accept the evidence. And so she realized that the system had to change. So instead of being a scientist, she started studying law, and she ended up drafting a bill, or writing a bill, and she fought for it, for the empowerment of people who experienced SA. And Congress passed the bill. And then she continued holding off her dreams, and she went and petitioned to the United Nations to uphold a similar thing for survivors of abuse. And they passed it unanimously as well. And then finally, she was able to return to her dream, studying bioastronautics, and now, in a few days, there's going to be a rocket launch that she is finally going to be an astronaut, which she always dreamed of. And I think she's my new favorite scientist of the day, and I love that. Good evening, dear Manka. Thank you, dear Crystal. Thank you for having your presence here. Yeah. It's funny, dear Petrocelli. Take care, dear Oren. Good evening, Medic Man. Hello, dear Leon. Welcome, John. Arsenal Real Madrid predictions. Sorry, I don't know what that is, dear JB. Thank you, dear Miss Ash. I'm glad that you find divinity in the Christ, dear Mallory. There's a path for everyone, regardless of religion. Quack. Hello, dear Cosmic Girl. Setting a daily timer for cleaning can be a simple thing, even if it's just a couple minutes. Yeah, because you end up spending a whole day cleaning and it's exhausting. Yeah, just a few minutes is sufficient, truly. I'm holding some manjira, dear Stefan. It just makes a nice sound, to be honest. That's its meaning. Thank you, dear Apollo, for your nonet of roses. Kula Sundaryai Namaha. Yeah. People use these for devotional songs often. It's said that they make the sound of Om, just high pitch. Dear Joan, you share you have a social anxiety disorder. Do I have advice for you? I would reflect on what it is that you're afraid of in yourself, and then consider what it would be like for you to see other people go through that. For example, if you're afraid of misspeaking, notice, do you ever judge other people when they flub their words or they're awkward? For most people, I would say, we don't really care if another person is awkward, or if they missay something, or if their emotions don't perfectly match what they're saying. You know, there's all these rules that we think we have to ascribe to in social settings. But when you really look at it, none of us really care that much, you know? I think it's cute when people are awkward. I don't mind moments of silence. I don't feel like anyone else has to carry the conversation, or even myself. We can just enjoy being present together. We can laugh, you know, if I say something weird, just part of being human. There's only so much life we get in this body, this mind. We might as well enjoy our quirks. And people are scary. People are the most unpredictable part of life. And that doesn't mean it should take us away from us living our lives, however. I've had anxiety too. And when I've invited that anxiety and even expressed that in social settings and realized that the true friends are those that are happy to have me here, even if I'm anxious, that's okay. That's great. What a wonderful thing it is to be surrounded by people that let you be anxious, that you can tell them, I'm feeling anxious right there, and they don't mind. They can adapt. I wish for you to discover that friend group. Maybe, dear Kim. Dear Sansra, you ask, is there a decade I wish I could have lived through? Well, I lived through all of them in my past lives. Yeah. Happy to be in this decade in this life. Yeah. Spirituality is found in presence. I love that, Odin. Hello, dear Celine. Have I ever had a watermelon that's yellow? I think I've seen them. I don't think I've personally had one, though. Amanda Nguyen was her name. The astrophysicist, aspiring astronaut turned lawmaker, human rights activist, UN speaker, bioastronaut, and now back to being an astronaut. Yeah. Dear Apollo, you ask, how do I feel about ISKCON or Krishna consciousness? I have heard that it has been a powerful organization that has brought many people into spiritual fulfillment. I've also heard of many people suffering in that organization, and unfortunately there is a lot of stories recently coming to light about people who were abused. Not the problem of not the general idea of ISKCON is what's causing that. As always, spiritual organizations being founded on a pathway to love and light and peace and happiness, they can be powerful tools for both creating profound positive experiences, but also, when unchecked, can create negative experiences and traumatic experiences also. I'm not associated with them, but I do believe in the spirit of their mission, and I hope and I pray that all of the abuse that happens within their religion or any belief system is something that is healed and rectified, and the space for everyone to live freely, regardless of how they choose to identify. Everyone's path is unique to them, and may no one be forced to do anything. True freedom is found not in any particular path or surrendering to any authority. And certainly, if anyone ever tells you that you have to do something for your salvation, they're full of it, because you don't have to do anything for your salvation other than be a source of love and kindness for everyone else. Take care of your body, your mind. Be a role model for everyone around you. And that's true regardless of the path that you're on. Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear bro Rob Bob, for your heartbeat. Sarva Mangalaya Namaha. And dear Joan, thank you for your quintet of roses. Jwala Malinyaya Namaha. Teresa, you're trying to remind yourself, don't put the object you're holding in your hand down. Put it away. If you remember, it helps with cleaning. That's a great idea. Yeah. Did I finally make my way back to the present moment in terms of comments? I think I did. There we go. You enjoyed the book, Light Eaters, today, Eugene? What recent book have I enjoyed this year? I have enjoyed the verses of the Radiant Sutras so far, which we're reading together. Speaking of which, I think it's time, since I finally made my way back to the present moment, to read from another section of this wonderful book. So, let's do so. This is a modern interpretation and commentary of the ancient Vijnana Bhairava Tantra by Lauren Roche. We begin today, continuing where we left off, from the 11th Yukti. This is the 11th of the 112 gateways to the yoga of wonder and delight. Any one of these ancient verses can be a fully fledged gateway into an infinitude of meditative experiences that you can spend a lifetime on. We'll read the Sanskrit verse, then the English interpretation, and then we'll pick out one of the Sanskrit words and use that as a seed for the practice underlying the Yukti. This verse is the 34th overall in the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Kapalan dharmano nyasya tishtan milita lochanaha kramena manaso dhardhyat lakshayet lashyam uttamam. Inside the skull, there is a place where the essences of creation play and mingle, the ecstatic light of awareness and the awareness of that light. The divine feminine and masculine sport with one another in that place. The light of their love play illumines all space. Rest in that light, ever present, and gradually awaken into the steady joy of that which is always everywhere. The word of the verse is Nyasa. Nyasa means putting down or in, placing, fixing, inserting, applying, impressing, drawing, painting, writing down, depositing, entrusting, delivering. It can be written or literal text. It sometimes means lowering the voice, introducing, consigning, or entrusting anything to the mind, mental appropriation or assignment of various parts of the body to tutelary deities. Nyasa. The practice. Nyasa can refer to ritual touching of various parts of the body while saying prayers or mantras. In doing so, you are awakening a quality of the divine and assigning or placing it in that area of the body. Here you are invited to introduce sacred qualities to the inside of your skull and to the crown of the skull. It is best to start out informally, saying something like, "I want my head to be filled with the most beautiful light, gorgeous music, and a view that goes on forever." Just make it up. Don't impose anyone else's idea of the sacred on yourself. The space inside your skull can become a perfect island getaway, a concert hall, the entire range of the Himalayas, vast reaches of outer space, or a medieval church with rose windows and saints everywhere. You don't have to stick with just one thing forever. The decor inside your head can be just for today or even just for the next 5 minutes, and then you can redecorate. What matters is that you decide what you would like in your inner space, what you would like to fill it with, how many windows to have, how open to the outer universe you want to be. There are several healthy qualities you develop in this way. First of all, the activity of choosing activities your mental circuits and introduces freedom. Did I put the enunciation of the right points there? First of all, the activity of choosing activates your mental circuits and introduces freedom. That's it. The changed elements introduce the possibility of novelty into your perception, and in selecting what you want, you can develop a combination of being at home in yourself and being on an adventure. These qualities will serve your meditation practice in the long run. In this tradition, the skull, kapala, is an offering cup of brilliance dedicated to this infinite divinity in which we find ourselves. Nyasa is one of my favorite practices. I actually haven't learned much about it in this life, but Nyasa is definitely one that calls me. It's such a beautiful practice where you point out a part of the body, you place your hand on it, or you touch the tip of your thumb to your finger, however small or large of a body part you want to name, and you fill it with grace. You do some mantra usually, or as our author recommends, starting off informally with some intention or visualization. You sanctify each part of your body as a living temple. And I love that. That's the 11th Yukti. Here is the 12th Yukti and the 35th verse overall. Madhya nadi madhya samstha bisa sutra bharupaya dhyatantar vyomaya devyataya devah prakashate. There is a current of energy love that flows between earth below and sun above. Love energy. The central channel of your spine is the riverbed. The streaming is as delicate and powerful as the tingling touch of lovers. Entering here, radiance arches between above and below. Your whole attention resting in the subtle, vibrating in the center of the spinal column. Tracing this current between earth and sun, become magnetism relating all the worlds. The word of the verse is Madhya. Madhya, meaning middle. The middle that embraces all. In the middle of the body, a woman's waist. In algebra, the middle term or the mean of a progression. The middle finger. In music, a particular tone, also a kind of meter. The middle of the sky, the space between the eyebrows, the belly, abdomen, 10,000 billions. These are all different meanings of the Sanskrit word Madhya. Another thing to know about the various meanings of Sanskrit words, it's not that these are homophones. It's not that it's the same sounding word with different meanings. It's that all of those meanings are expressed simultaneously within the single word. So rather than wondering, well, which meaning is used in a particular context, the beauty of Sanskrit is that all possible meanings of the word are invoked in the sentence. That's what makes it such a delightfully interpretive language. So the practice is one of wonder and tenderness here, and connection. Explore the relationship between the earth below you, your body, and the sky above. In nature, magnetism flows between the opposite poles. The sun and the earth are polarities. The ocean of air above and the ground below are polarities. As you learn to live your life in conscious relationship with the above and the below, your own body becomes the middle, the Madhya, and the magnetism flows through you. Your body is a bridge, an electric circuit joining heaven and earth. Yukti is joining. A human being is something the universe created to link the below and the above. You might take walks and open up your senses to the sky above and ground below, then lie on the earth and do the same. You could dance or practice Tai Chi. You could visit places with a huge, vast sky and places where you love the earth. Over time, learn to tolerate the sense of immensity, both above and below. There is nothing to be forced. Pardon me. This is a love relationship. Give it time. Give it flowers. Go on dates and pay attention. The text says, Devyataya. By means of the goddess, this practice is revealed. I love that. I think those two are sufficient for now. Normally we've read 3 in the past, but I think those 2 are perfectly suited for today. Use the space in your skull as a stage for visualization. Engage in Nyasa, the practice of sanctifying your body types. Engage in Madhya, seeing yourself as the middle between polarities, as a bridge between the heaven and the earth. Thank you very much for listening. I look forward to reading the 13th Yukti with you, and the 36th verse overall of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. If that brought out any insights from within you, you're always welcome to share. I look forward to continuing. That concludes our Shravana. And I welcome everyone that joined while we were reading. And thank you, Kim, for the finger heart as well. Jwala Malinyai Namaha. Dear WANAP, you were wondering how to create the cosmic background in the back. So what I have is a tapestry behind me. This is physical. Yeah, I can move it around. Da, 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 da. These are physical too. Yeah. But what I'm doing is I'm using a chroma key, which is the technical term for keying out a singular color, like the color blue. So I take the color blue out from the video feed. You see there's this dark space, and I underlay a video behind, specifically this video. I can show you. That's the video that's playing underneath my video. And you're wondering, how do I have a video? How can I move things around and have all this stuff? Well, it's because I'm not streaming on my phone. I'm streaming on a computer. I'm streaming on my Windows desktop computer, where TikTok provides a proprietary software called TikTok Live Studio. It's like any other streaming software that the pros use, and it's pretty easy to use, and you get all sorts of different scenes, and you can choose what's in your scenes, like videos and images and text. So yeah, that's how this background is created. What is a yukti? Asks Hajar. A yukti is a method on achieving yoga. Yoga generally means union. The goal of what we call yoga is to achieve something called yoga. So yoga, not the practice yoga, but what is to be achieved through the comprehensive system of philosophy called yoga, means union, a sense of union of everything. There's no longer any diversity in the sense of division. There's no longer a sense of separation. There's no sense of us versus them. There's no blockage between you, your mind, and your body. There's no you versus the rest of the universe. There's just yoga, union. So a yukti, which comes from the same root, meaning to bring together, is one of the methods to unify. Yukti is a unification technique. But you are almost right, dear. 92 is half of 99. It is a green screen. It's a blue screen. It's a mostly blue screen. It's a tapestry, and I'm taking out the color blue instead of the color green, and I have something else behind. I'm glad you liked the reading, dear Eugene. I do love Sanskrit and the feel of the words too. Absolutely, Kundalini is very much a part of the of Tantra. Each one of these techniques can be seen as a way to engage your Kundalini, in fact. Yeah, thank God for yoga. I agree. It said that one of the names for God is Yogeshwara, which means the Lord of Yoga. Another name is Adiyogi, which means the first yogi. So I have a question of the day for all of you if you're interested in exploring it together. Today I'm wondering, how do we sanctify the body? We touched on this topic known as Nyasa in Sanskrit, but do you have any personal practices or perspectives that you'd like to add to that? I'd love to explore that with you. Hello, Macaroni. A good topic. I'm glad you like it. Please feel free to answer in whatever way feels right to you. In this moment, I'm definitely not looking for a right answer, nor is there necessarily a wrong answer. Thank you for sharing the live, dear Pia. I'll let you think about it. And in the meantime, I will practice some deep breathing. Speaking of which, Eugene, you shared deep breath and the whole body awareness. That's very simple. Yeah. Awareness itself is the omnipresent divine. When you give that awareness to your body, you are sanctifying the temple. Hajar, you shared to just listen to what it needs. It feels so sacred to you. I love that. Yeah, being a caretaker of our body. When we see our body less as who we are and more as a personal project given to us by Mother Nature for us to take care of, then our relationship definitely becomes one of divination. First, we see it as sacral. I like that. Seeing the body as sacred, like a temple. Azura, you share to be mindful of what we ingest in all forms. Absolutely. I love that. Dear WANAP, you share living in a way that resonates with our highest self, making good choices. Yeah. So simply stated. I love that. Let our sanctity be reflected in our actions performed by our body. Dear Raven, you share visualizations of golden light filling the body. That is such an amazing practice. One that is a very common one across all religions too. A very universal practice, that is. Speaking of which, dear Rebecca, you share, pour all the light out of your skull into the universe. I like that. Get that light out. Share that light. Being a vessel of light is such an ancient metaphor. In some sense, that is what the word Kundalini means. Kunda means pot or vessel. Lini means feminine energy. And light is definitely a part of that. Thank you for the follow, dear Mali. Welcome, dear Anton. These are beautiful answers, everyone. Thank you. What a breath of fresh air you all are. I like that. Exercise could be one. I just saw that you sent that, dear Anne. In Innesota, you share, we expand our energy instead of contracting. One of the most ancient names for the divine comes from the root brh, meaning to expand. That is Brahma, translated as the creator, and of course that term creator is used in so many different contexts in religion and spirituality. And Brahman, meaning the all-expansive one, the ultimate reality. Rolling in mud, that's great, Hajar. Yes, absolutely. Connecting with nature. And Kim, you share seeing the world from an honest perspective. Also, reading. Yeah, I like that. In religious practice, shares Ajura, water is a deep symbol of purification. This is very true. Yeah. Water purifies. All of the elements have a capacity to purify. Fire purifies by means of heat and illumination. Water purifies by means of dissolution and its vastness. Earth purifies in the sense of being grounded and interconnectedness. Air purifies in the sense of the winds of change. And space purifies in the sense of holding space. Simplification. Exploring prana, that's a great answer, Cody Jane. The vital breath, yeah. Let that prana flow in and out of each portion. We rest, shares Innesota. Indeed, resting sanctifies the temple of our body. These are great. Eugene, you add gratitude in how we relate with all things, allowing the body and spirit to express love. That's beautiful. Like in the reading with Earth and Sun. Exactly. Dawn, you share, honor the body as a temple. Feed it clean. Move with intention. Purify it. Live with self-love and respect. Yeah. Just like Howl's moving castle, you are the divine's moving temple. And with prayer and gratitude, shares Dancing Aurora Borealis. Yeah, gratitude opens the way for grace. Prayer is a channel for that grace to flow. I'm glad you love these answers. Dear 92 is half of 99. Emma, you share surrendering fully to the divine. I like that. Sharanagati, it's called. Dear IFC, you share, well, you just had to Google the word, and it's taken you this long to read it all. That's okay. It's a good word, isn't it? Define sanctify in this context, shares Internet Thought. Sanctify, well, maybe IFC John can share what they learned from Google. What does Google say? To sanctify is to set apart as declare or set apart as or declare holy, to consecrate. Beautiful definition. Yeah, that is certainly the sentiment that I had. To consecrate, to see as divine, to imbue. Fasting can be very helpful indeed, dear Laura. I'm glad you like that comparison with Howl's moving castle, dear Dawn. Honor the sanctity of sacred energy exchange. Yes, all about the coming and going of that energy. Being a suitable vessel, vehicle for that. Getting 99 hit points and prayer. That's funny, Cody Jane. Yes. Praying, shares Anne. Self-control, shares Kim. Fasting has helped you stay focused on what's important. I noticed that too, dear Laura, that when you're fasting, you don't have the energy, literally, to expend on that which is unnecessary. And your whole mind begins to reconfigure itself based on what is truly necessary in life. And that's true in the physical sense of fasting, as it is true in fasting from other things. Taking breaks from social media, for example. Digital fasting. Holy dancing. I love that, Sophia. Yeah. You dance in the beach on Saturday. I love that, Laura. What a great way to spend Saturday. Tattvamasi, you share. The background music is bringing back memories watching the Ramayana as a child. Aw, I'm happy for that. Chanting the Maha Mantra. That is a great mantra, dear Anna Sattva. Internet Thought, you ask, do we include the mind with the body, given the mind is within the brain? I would say that it's like hardware and software. Your mind is the software that runs on the hardware that is the brain. Just as the operating system of your computer is something distinct from the computer, yet it uses the computer to express itself through the user interface, so too our mind uses the body to run its programs. The mind is something different from the body. It is immaterial, metaphysical. Taking care of both the body and the mind is important, and using the mind to sanctify the body is definitely our instrument of choice. Using our thoughts. And we can sanctify our mind as well, using other techniques. That is precisely true, dear Internet Thought. If you take the time, you can design and personalize the operating system. So, to teach yourself to be kind and love one another sanctifies the body. I love that. Perfectly said. Thank you. So, to sanctify oneself is to be set apart for God's special use and purpose. What a very definitive answer, dear IFC John. I like that. Yeah. 92 is half of 99. You ask, is it possible that the mind is an emergent property of our physical body? That is the scientific perspective, and it's valid. The spiritual perspective is just the other way around, that the body is an emergent property of the mind, that all of this is just mind stuff. And if you notice, the body is a part of your mental landscape in terms of sights, sounds, tastes, smells, and feelings. All that we know of our body is that it's an experience contained within our mind. So I love how the yogis say that the body emanates from the mind from consciousness. I call that the inside-out perspective. The scientific perspective is the outside-in one. That the consciousness arises from the mind arises from the senses arises from the body, and the body arises from the universe. Spiritual perspective is the other way around. In the beginning there is consciousness. From the consciousness arises the mind. From the mind arises the senses. From the senses arises the body. And from the body arises everything else. Consecrate yourself, therefore be holy, for I am the Lord your God. I love that, indeed. Internet thought, you share like personally you've heard a divine voice tell you to believe, and you've taught yourself to believe, was to treat everyone with love and kindness. I see the divinity in that. Yeah. How do you know when it's truly divine? Well, are they telling you to love? Are they telling you to be kind? Oh, that's pretty divine, so it must be. Being patient with yourself and others as you grow. Yes, that is very true, dear Kim. What a beautiful sanctification process. Bit of a longer session today, dear Aurora. We're going on 3 hours at the moment, it seems. Thank you, everyone, for exploring this question of the day with me. I love all your answers, always. I learn so much from all of you. Emma, you ask, does the body need sanctification, or does it need awareness? Maybe it's already sacred. I would say both, because the awareness is the sanctification. And that's my answer to the question of the day. So thank you for prompting that, dear Emma. I love that, everyone. The body is absolutely already sacred. We just have to be aware of that. And all these techniques are really just ways of becoming aware of that. It's already there. Hello, Regina. Okay, I always end up on the left side of my screen. I would like to read to you as an intermission of some poetry by the Sufi mystic himself. It's time for another episode of Ruminations. I think you're really gonna like these poems today. I know I will. This poem is called Love is Reckless. Love is reckless, not reason. Reason seeks a profit. Love comes on strong, consuming herself, unabashed. Yet, in the midst of suffering, love proceeds like a millstone, hard-surfaced and straightforward. Having died to self-interest, she risks everything and asks for nothing. Love gambles away every gift God bestows. Without cause, God gave us being. Without cause, give it back again. Gambling yourself away is beyond any religion. Religion seeks grace and favor, but those who gamble these away are God's favorites, for they neither put God to the test nor knock at the door of gain and loss. Love is reckless. Speaking of which, this poem is called Out of Control. If I had any judgment and skill of my own, my consideration and plans would all be under my control. At night my consciousness would not leave against my will, and the birds of my senses would be secured within my own cage. I would be aware of the stages journeyed by the soul in the unconsciousness, in sleep and in times of trouble. But since my hand is made empty, by his sovereign power to loosen and to bind, oh, I wonder, from whom comes this self-conceit of mine? And lastly, this poem is called Why Be Cruel to Yourself? Your grace is the shepherd of all who have been created, guarding them from the wolf of pain. A loving shepherd, like God's pen, Moses. A single sheep fled from him. Moses wore out his shoes, and his feet blistered as he followed after it. He continued searching until night fell. Meanwhile, the flock had vanished from sight. The lost sheep was weak and exhausted. Moses shook the dust from it and stroked its back and head with its hand, fondling it lovingly like a mother. Not a bit of irritation and anger, nothing but love and pity and tears. He said to the sheep, I can understand that you naturally had no pity on me, but why did your nature so show such cruelty to yourself? At that moment, God said to the angels, this human being is suitable to be a prophet. I love that. May we all aspire to such qualification, even if it takes lifetimes. Thank you very much for listening. This has been another episode of Ruminations, and I'm always happy to hear your reflections if you want to share them. There's a question from Tatwamasi. You share, well, our interpretation of what the body looks like or feels is mental, but there is something real, yeah? And that reality is the one. Absolutely. And it is from that one reality that there is a sequential progression of creations. First there is the citta, the latent impressions. Then there is the ahankara, the sense of self, concentration of those impressions. From that emerges a sense of decision-making, the buddhi, and from that emerges a set of possibilities known as the mind. From the mind we get our senses, different opportunities to channel our thoughts through sight, sounds, tastes, smells, touch. From that we arise a body which can go and through our karmendriyas serve the world before us. All of that is real. When I say that the body is in our mind, I don't mean to say that it's made up. I mean to say that it's made up of thoughts, that the body is the physical manifestation of the mind, and the mind is the mental manifestation of the consciousness, and the consciousness is that real source. Aurora, you had asked how to move away from greed or jealousy. You move towards what they are opposite. The opposite of greed is a sense of abundance for all, that you live vicariously through sharing what you have. How do you move away from jealousy? through learning to love the happiness that other people get to experience. In other words, you no longer see yourself as different from anyone else. What does that mean? It means that other people's sadness is your sadness too. And other people's happiness is your happiness too. That whatever other people experience, that's also you. That you be sad for everyone in the world, at the same time you be happy for everyone in the world. Empathy. That's right. You know the Antahkaranas, dear Anna. How many Rumi poetries remain, asks Ajura. Not many. Yeah, we only have, it looks like 5 or so pages left. And there's about a poem per page. Actually, these last few poems are multiple pages. Yeah, there might only be a few poems left. Let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the last poem is a whole tale. Yeah, that'll take many minutes to read. Oh wow! I didn't even realize this is the same book where we also read the words of Pema Chodron, the pocket Pema Chodron. I thought it was fitting that this one's called the pocket Rumi, but I thought that was just a coincidence. There are no coincidences, or it truly was a coincidence of grand proportions. I'm glad you loved the poems, dear John. You become more abundant when others are more abundant. I love that in Asota. Rebecca, you don't know if the book will arrive in time. That's okay, I'm sure we'll find something to fill our live streams with. Yeah, no rush. There will be at least 2 more streams of Rumi. Indeed, yeah. Hello, Shuri Hasya Chitrakara. Welcome. Thank you, Isabella, for the finger heart you sent earlier. Sarvaya Namaha. That's one of my favorite mantras because it's salutations to everything. Sarvaya. And everything is one of the names of the divine. Sarva. Thank you, dear Isabella, for your finger heart too. And Sasra for your heart meme. Parashaktaye Namaha. Dear Anna Satwa, you ask, am I in Advaita philosophy or Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva? I see all interpretations of Vedanta as equally valid. For example, in our Discord server, there are places for both Advaita and Achintya Bheda Abheda. There's also different forms of Vedanta, like Dvaita and Vishishta Dvaita. From the place of the source, from the original ultimate reality, universal consciousness, all forms of Vedanta are one and the same, and I celebrate them. The truth of Vedanta is not in the Anta, it's in the Veda. The word Vedanta comes from Anta, meaning the end of, or conclusion, and Veda, meaning knowledge or revelation. What is a true interpretation merely means that it stems from the Vedas. And since all forms of Vedanta are stemming from the Vedas, they are all equally valid. I love that, dear Moon Kid. And thank you, dear Van. The Vedas are, they are known as Drishti and Shruti, that which is seen and heard. Meaning that which is directly experienced and then relayed unto others. Any interpretation based in direct experience relayed unto others is valid spiritual teaching. Oh, please don't bother with sending gifts, especially if you're unable to. Dear IFC John, your presence is a gift. What more could I ask for than that? Not necessary. I am happy with you regardless, and sending gifts does not make me any happier. I will be happy even if I receive nothing, and I will love you all just the same. Nonetheless, I still appreciate them, and it does help me to know that there's value you find in the space here. I love that, dear Tatwamasi. Veda has other meanings too. When an arrow hits the bullseye, you think that's called Veda as well. I love that. Yeah, I think it comes from the root vid, meaning to know. And maybe when you hit the bullseye, that's like saying you really know your craft. Well done. To know is to reach the bullseye, is to hit that infinitesimal point, perhaps. Dear Inasora, you ask, when your spirituality becomes a reason for mental instability, like you mentioned, what do you do? You take a break from spirituality, or you reconsider what it really means to be spiritual. If you are suffering at the hands of your own spiritual practice, then is it really that spiritual? Because spirituality is all about attending to your suffering, not increasing it. So yeah, take a break from whatever practice seems to be putting strain on your well-being. I would say that although spirituality is the highest goal in life to pursue through all things, there is a time and place to do other things that might not even be considered spiritual. In that moment, in that place, in that context of your life where you really just need to focus on your mental health, then you don't even have to frame that in a spiritual perspective. Even though ultimately it's all spiritual indeed, and taking care of your mental health is one of the most spiritual things you can do. That doesn't mean you have to be thinking in terms of spiritual concepts. You don't even have to use the word spiritual. You can just focus on, finding a sense of groundedness. Ayurveda, yes. Ayurveda, Veda is knowledge. Ayus, the word ayus means life. Or healing, actually. We ultimately get the name Jason from Ayus and many other names from Ayus, because that palatal semivowel ya becomes occluded in many language branches. It becomes ajus, then the a is dropped, juice, and then it takes on a suffix jusan, Jason. It becomes Jason over time. Just as a fun fact for you, all you Jasons out there, you are literally the healer of life, etymologically speaking. But yeah, ayus becomes ayur through sandhi rules. Ayurveda is the knowledge, the Veda of life and healing. Ayus. Have I practiced the meditation that keeps your body warm in the cold? I really want to learn more about that. The yoga of inner heat, yes. I do like spending more time in the cold when I can. Exploring the limits of my senses. What's the hottest, what's the coldest that I can tolerate? I love that practice. It just expands my comfort zone. Do I take e-transfers to my email too in Canada? Asks Azura. Yes, my email is hooked up to my e-transfer, the one that's there. But everything I do remains free. And nothing I do will ever... Okay, oh, I said the word Canada and I got the banner. Oops. And there will never ever be any payment for what I do. Yeah. You worked with Jason, says Azura. He was not healing. Sounds like he has to get in touch with what his name means. It's very natural, dear Aurora. Sometimes people can have different faiths but still be together. I think that's beautiful when that happens, when you can find a kind of synergy between your faiths and spiritual practices. Hello, dear Lex. Tamim, you had asked earlier, but you're back again. It's definitely less busy now. You ask, do you believe that the Lord has a specific path for all humans? Yeah, but that specific path is specific to the person. Because the Lord is one, but we are many. And so the path leading from us to the Lord at first is diverse, but then becomes unified over time. At the highest peaks of Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, as they get closer and closer to the source and any other path that I didn't mention, they become more and more similar. If you listen to a saint from any tradition who's really gotten close to the divine, you might not even be able to tell which tradition they're speaking from because it's so universal. So the closer you get to the source, the more unified your path is with everyone else's. But in the extremities, on the surface, it seems like there's all these different paths because we're all different people. And that's beautiful. There's such a colorful diversity and all that as well. Dear Sabus, you had asked, how would someone naturally gifted with mental strength or resilience, stability? How do I look at someone naturally gifted with mental strength, resilience, or stability? I think we are all naturally gifted with the seeds of these things. We just might not all have had the childhood to demonstrate them. And that's okay. Even if we didn't, we can give that to ourselves in our adult life. But yeah, we all have the ability to tap into that nature. Strength, resilience, and stability is part of our nature. And it'll always be there, even if we haven't had an opportunity to nourish that in this lifetime. I'm happy you find power in that, Tamim. You had a difficult childhood, Murto. I feel you. Dear IFC John, you've come across a lot of people who are very much into the divine yet find themselves very alone. That surprises me in the sense that the divine is what connects everything. If you are into that which is omnipresent, how can you ever feel alone? Sebas, you had asked, I realize it's probably short for Sebastian. Sebas. You ask, what if someone isn't able to positively tap into that inner child? You got to start somewhere. And that's also a capacity that everyone has because your inner child hasn't gone anywhere. We call it an inner child because it's inside. And so, if you just get what's inside out, if you allow what's on the inside to come out through play, through song and dance, through connecting with childhood stories, you'll connect more and more with that inner child. I see your question, dear Shay. I don't know who those people are, though. Could you tell me who is Carney or Pierre? I've not heard. I love that, John. Yeah. There's an election? Oh, I see. I think the two candidates that we should vote for have to do with our heart. What's in our heart? There's an election of love and fear taking place in our heart. In this moment, who runs the government of this body and mind? Is fear running it? Is fear the president or prime minister? Or is love the president or prime minister? If we can continue to vote for love in our heart, that's the most important election. Yeah. I'm Canadian. I happen to be born here, but I'm a citizen of the world. And the great change happens not at the level of, up there. It happens at the level of our heart. If we change what's in our heart, the world will change around us. It really does not matter who becomes Prime Minister of Canada. What matters most is who's Prime Minister of your heart. Is it love or fear? I vote for love. We really can change the world by changing within. Yeah. Dear Tatvamasi, you had asked, how can you possibly start to understand the nirguna? That definitely don't feel like it's for the mind. Nirguna is not understandable by the mind. The mind is made up of gunas, of qualities. Just like you cannot directly see awareness, but everything that you see informs you that you have awareness, so too, nirguna is the source of the gunas. All qualities emerge from a space which has no qualities. We cannot perceive that space any more than we can perceive awareness, because the awareness itself is nirguna. If the awareness had gunas, then we wouldn't be able to see anything. Because to be able to perceive requires a space, an absence, to be filled in with other things. Just like in order to have a painting, you need a canvas to paint on top of it. No canvas means no painting, but the fact that you see a painting informs you. There exists a canvas underneath. So too, you cannot expect to make music if you're filled with noise. Silence must be there in order to first make music. So upon listening to music, you know that at least at the time of recording, that music studio was silent. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to record in that space. So all of the gunas inform us of something else that's nirguna. Everything that we perceive in terms of qualities changes. Therefore, there must be some changeless foundation of the changing reality. That is what we are. Hello, dear Shana. I am well, thank you. Choose love. Love for president. Yeah. I like your descriptive words, dear Max. Rumi was on scarce canvas of fair prophetic guidance. All his light empowered a quotative knowledge. That's beautiful. I love Rumi. And peace and blessings be upon the Prophet Muhammad. Yeah. Thank you for the reminder to hydrate, dear Dancing Aurora Borealis. Remember, when Muslims say that Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is the last prophet, what they mean is he has everything you need to know, that you don't need to go anywhere else. That is to say, the divine continues to reveal itself through many different speakers and teachers and preachers, and will continue to do so for generations to come. But if you like having a path laid out before you by one of the greatest messengers that has ever come, then you need look no further than the Prophet Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon him. His way is complete and full. And I love that for everyone that chooses that path. Please rest soon, dear Kim. When is the time to vote, asks IFC? I have no idea. But the time to vote in our heart between love and fear is every moment. Good night, dear Anna. Radhe Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna. Alright, I think it's time for a meditation. I look forward to meditating with you, if you are too. Pardon me. So, for tonight's meditation, we have yet another bija, a sacred seed from the Kamika Agama, the ancient Dravidian scripture. Today's seed is going to be a little difficult to pronounce, but I think it'll be easy if I give you some pointers. The bija is Nga. That's a guttural nasal. We do actually have that sound in English. For example, it's in the word English, ing. It's spelled ng, but if you notice, it's neither an N sound nor a G sound. You don't say English, you say English. So that NG is filling the role of a sound that we don't naturally have in the Latin alphabet, and that's a guttural nasal. So we've stuck a nasal, which is N, next to a guttural sound, which is G, to kind of, inform us that there's a guttural nasal. Nga, nga. But you can use that as a distinct phoneme. It doesn't have to be in the word English or at the end of present tense verbs like walking, singing, dancing. You can have it at the start of a sound. And so it is at the start of this bija. Nga. This bija has 3 associations given in the 2nd chapter of the Kamika Agama. The first is that it's said to be the color of black. The second is that it's associated with Kala, time, Father Time, time as a form itself of the divine. And the third is that it has the power to grant victory in everything. And I love that. So the mantra is Om Ngang Kalaya Namah. I've added some additional pronunciation pointers. For example, the A with a line over it. This is a long vowel. O's in Sanskrit are always long. O. The M with the dot under it is a nasalization at the end of Ong and Ngong. It actually is kind of similar to the guttural nasal, but it is no distinct place of articulation. In general, you just make the nasal cavity the dominant place of resonance. You don't have to restrict any particular organ of speech. And finally, at the end of Nama, there is a mini exhale. It's known as the Visarga. Aung Kalaya Namah. It means Om, Ngam, salutations to time. Time as that which bestows victory. In other words, it's a kind of patience mantra, isn't it? So I hope you have patience with me as we chant together 108 repetitions on these prayer beads. You're welcome to join with me or just listen. Aung Kalaya Aum Ankalaya Namah. 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 Om Ankalaya Namah. Aum 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 Ankalaya Namah. Om Ankalaya Namah. Aum 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 Ankalaya Kalaya Namaha. Aum Ngang 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 Kalaya Namaha. Salutations to time. Through time we meet with. Through time may we all find success and victory in all of our inner battles. Let us spend a few moments in silence, feeling the reverberations of this mantra echo around, contemplating upon time as the giver of victory, patience, Thank you for meditating with us. That concludes our Saṅgha for today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, dear Kim, for your trio of roses and finger heart. Om Sadyoja Tam Prapadyami Sadyoja Taya Vai Namo Namah Bhave Bhave Nati Bhave Bhavaswamam Bhavodbhavaya Namah. I'm glad you found that calming. That's the ancient language of Sanskrit, dear Nia. Hello, dear Plankton. I'm well today. How are you? You're welcome, Mariham. You're welcome, dear Hajar. Thank you, dear Coco. Dancing Aurora Borealis. Thank you to my lovely moderators who help keep the peace. If there's anything I can do to make this space more inclusive for you or anyone next time, please let me know. Anyone and everyone. May this live stream be an offering to the divinity within you. Aum asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurmamritangamaya. Aum Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. I have no idea what you're talking about, the Kev Flock. Much love, dear Minnesota. Thank you, everyone. May you have a wonderful rest of your present moment. Namaste.